Viewer discretion advised.
Bad vibrations?
Not suitable for work.
Son of a bitch.
Warning, if you are highly sensitive, overly emotional, or easily triggered, do us all a favor and quietly tune out. No need ruining the good time of others simply because you are a beta or a bitch. Age of Men podcast with your co-host in crime, Nick and Julius. Initiate launch sequence.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Appreciate you all for being here. Happy Sunday to you guys. God bless you all. Appreciate you guys for being here. Do hit that like button and do hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. We appreciate you guys for being here. Again, God bless you all. Welcome back to another episode of Age of Men podcast. I'm the host, Julius, with my co-host, C3 Nick. What up, Nick? How's it going, man?
Chilling, man. Out here to usher in Age of Men again with you. Couldn't be happier.
Right on. And we got two very special guests. We appreciate you guys for being here. We got the one, the only, Angela Knight. We appreciate you for being here. So appreciate that.
Regular on the Age of Men, fan favorites. Two of them tonight, folks.
Always glad to have you on. And then we got, matter of fact, it's two folks from Florida. My other good friend, Megan. How are you doing tonight? How's it going over there sewing?
Yeah, don't hesitate to bust Megan, who can't pay attention to the live show because she's too wrapped up in her sewing project right now. Bust her in the chat if you see her doing it.
Okay. So
yeah,
if you bust her at all making sewing while we're live, then she has to make an Age of Men scrunchie and sell it to a woman.
Interesting.
That's the game.
I do have some gold scrunchies.
Folks, if you catch her.
You got to go on Epstein.com. Isn't it Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein?
Oh, Lord.
I thought I was uncultured, Julius.
I'm turning the AC down. It's hot as hell.
Yeah, so again, we appreciate everybody here. I know we got some of Angela's peoples in the chat, so we appreciate you guys all for being here. Yeah, so we got a couple of topics that we want to talk about tonight. A couple of things that I wrote down. The main meat of this is do women prefer taller or tall men? Not taller, but tall men. Kind of want to dive into that. We also got some other topics here. Let me see. I also wanted to know something I spoke about on Angela's podcast last night. Should men and women be virgins until marriage? And then should women know how to cook for their husbands? Is chivalry sexist? And then some things I want to pull off Twitter that I saw that I think would be good to talk about. So chime in what you all think about each conversation. Give us your thoughts. Maybe we'll open up the panel. We'll just see how things go for the second hour. So we do 2 hours every Sunday. So maybe the last hour we'll open up the panel. We'll just see how things go. But nonetheless, again, appreciate you guys. So I wanted to pull up this video. I'm going to pull it right now. I saw this video on Instagram where it was the Desirable Truth, Osaze, and he was asking this young woman about her height preference. And it was interesting to me because she said it doesn't matter, like she'll date a guy who's shorter. But when asked the question about who would she choose, she ended up choosing the tall guy by default. And I thought that was interesting to me because she just spent a whole 1 or 2 minutes saying that it doesn't matter, all for her to choose the tall guy in the end. So it made me wonder if that's instinct for a woman to want a taller guy and why. So let me find the video real quick. I think it was this one.
I can't wait to get these two ladies' takes on this because, folks, the obvious default is like we all would probably guess that, yes, they would prefer a taller man. But the question is, how important is it and why is it so important to women? Right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to get.
So real quick, I just want to say to those watching, sometimes my internet be like really bad. So I try to share a video and it just buffers a lot. So I'm hoping it plays, hoping there's no trouble with me sharing this video, but there's always tend to be problems. So my bad on that one. But
if it doesn't, luckily Julius is a great analyst. He's a play-by-play guy. He can tell us what happened.
I try. So here's that video here. Hopefully it plays. So forgive me if it doesn't, but we'll do our best. It may buffer, so just bear with us. Here's that video here.
How tall are you?
5'8".
How tall you meant to be?
I don't care. My friends all make fun of me because I actually go for short guys a lot. Well, like, not short, but like 5'8", 5'9", and they're always like, what are you doing? I really don't care.
You wouldn't feel more protected with a taller guy?
I think that's kind of bullshit. Like, honestly, like, a guy can be protecting whether he's 5'9" or 6'5". Like, it doesn't matter.
What gave you that mentality? Because so many girls preach 6 foot and up. Only.
Why would that? Like, if the guy, if he's amazing at 5'9", I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, he's not 6 foot. No. And also,
come on.
Also, my whole family is like tall guys, so I guess I grew up with this, so maybe that's why like I'm not like necessarily like astounded by.
Sorry about that, guys.
A guy if he's tall.
Okay, so 5'5", 5'9", or 6'2". Who you going with? They're all the same personality.
6'2", obviously, just because my default, but it doesn't matter. Like
all right, we'll pause it there. I'm sorry, buffering. I don't know what's going on. And I think it is. I think it's because the stream itself is on HD, so I may have to lower the resolution in order for videos to play better. So I think that's the reason why it's messing up. It's on HD. So play by play, he asks her how tall she is. She says 5'8", and he's asking her if she prefers a tall guy. She goes, it doesn't matter. My friends always get on me if I date a guy who's not as tall, and so. He kind of follows up with the fact that she prefer a tall guy. She goes, he says most women likes tall guys. She goes, that's BS. And so he gives her the choice of 6'2", what was it, 5'10", or like 5'5", or something like that, or 5'9", 5'5", something like that. She goes with the 6'2" automatically. So I found that to be interesting to me because she's telling him it doesn't matter. Her friends get on her, this and that, but then goes with the 6'2" guy in the end. So to ask a question to the ladies, and Angela, I'll start with you. Why do women prefer tall guys? And like, what is it about a tall guy that makes women go, I want him? Like, wherever his personality is, if it's a personality you vibe with, even if he was a complete jerk and you just didn't know that, but you saw his height, why do you think that women are naturally just attracted to height versus just a man that's willing to be protected and provide?
Okay, well, I don't. Am I answering your exact question, or am I answering it based on the video?
Both.
Start with the video and then spin off of it into this question if you could.
So, yeah. Okay, cool. So when we're talking about preference, everybody has a different preference. I think that's fair to say. I think that if we're talking about like I think the comparison of the video is like if you have two guys, this height and then this height, you name two heights, but you say they're exactly the same except for one person is taller. It's almost like saying, hey, what are you, a boobs or an ass guy? Hey, I like asses, but if she has boobs, great too. So who you're gonna pick? Well, you said you're an ass guy, but this chick has both. Why aren't we gonna go with that? Everyone's always gonna choose the better option. So I think that we're saying, what's your preference? She doesn't mind short guys if the short guy is funny, protective, confident, or financially stable. But that's all great. And then you add in the bonus, which is, oh, he's taller. Fuck yeah, she's gonna go with the taller guy. But she's already happy with settling with just whatever minimal height that she said she's cool with. So I think just goes with preference is all I'm going to say.
It's not like a deal breaker for her if he's checking all the other boxes.
I personally don't think it's a deal breaker. I think that is it something that people will probably always choose? Yeah, sure, but I don't find to believe that height is such a deal breaker because there's a lot of short people in the world and they're all screwing somebody. So if we're saying that only tall people are having the options to have partners and be married or be in a relationship, I think that's a big fat lie. I think that we're chronically online way too much, and we can say like they only want to choose tall guy. I'm like, okay, but would you be with a girl who didn't have boobs, butts, didn't cook, wasn't submissive, didn't want to have a child, can't have a child? You wouldn't. But it's like we're just measuring like stupid things at this point. So yeah, that's.
So would you be with a guy that's shorter than you? Like date him?
I mean, it just really depends on what he has to offer. What else does he have? Like, it can't just be he's just short.
Checking all the boxes except shorter than you.
Personally, I know people are gonna drag me for this shit and be like, why? But like, that shit doesn't bother me. Like, my husband is like practically my height. Maybe he's like an inch taller, I guess. With heels on, I'm taller than him. It doesn't bother me at all.
Interesting. Okay. Megan, what do you think about that video? What's your reaction to that video?
You know my answer.
I know your answer, but the audience doesn't. So.
I don't.
Short kings for the win.
I wish there was somebody in here who said the opposite. I should have been the villain. Fuck it.
Wait, what did you say, Megan?
Short kings for the win.
Short kings for the win.
Short kings.
Okay.
Julius, you hear this, bro?
Well, I'm black, so it's short kangs. No.
You black.
Yeah.
No, but
it's short kangs.
But to possibly speak for other people, I think it's because girls do like that feeling of protection of like, you know, I guess some girls like they want to be the shorter person when it comes to like giving hugs, if that makes sense. Like it sort of makes them feel more like girly in a way. Like I don't know. It's like a lot of girls don't want to feel like the man in the relationship, even if he's doing everything like chivalrous. So like it makes them feel more. I don't know how to explain it in layman terms, but like
emasculated,
dominant, or whatever, manly.
Yeah, so that's what I was kind of thinking of too. Is that I think
a lot of women don't care. Like Joe Jonas, his wife was Sophia Turner. She's taller than him, and
yeah, but it's a Jonas brother, right? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah,
but that just proves the point that if you have some sort of social status, finances, humor, confidence.
Well, she's an actress too.
But yeah, within the dating same range. But let's like normal people. I'd have to say like if they work together. Let's say they worked at a Chick-fil-A together. If he had the same personality, I'm pretty sure they'd still be banging.
I mean,
free Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, and this is not to say that there aren't women that date men who are shorter than them. I would agree with Megan with the whole if a woman is taller than you, then it can make a man feel emasculated because
or a woman feel defeminized.
Yeah, because she's dominant and he feels like the submissive one because she's like taller than him. He's looking up to her. And I know that most women like to look up to their man literally. And so I think it can make a man feel emasculated. Now, this is not to say that nobody ever dates the opposite height, but I think when you have that different dynamic where she's tall and he's short, especially if she has heels on and he's like trying to wear boots to like match with that, it can make him feel a certain type of way. So
1-inch platforms and stuff like get away with it.
If I'm taller than him in heels, I will bring him a stool.
Oh, that's emasculation 101.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you just bring a stool with you.
I wouldn't say that's embracing his height.
Are you gonna pat him on the head and say "good boy" too?
Embrace being short is what I say. Embrace it.
But,
I don't know.
Okay,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Angela. No, go ahead.
I just really think it depends on like your security level as an individual. Like I think that we can say it will make a man feel emasculated, but I think that when you have social status or financials like backing to, make yourself feel confident. And when I say social status, you could be the best fucking cowboy in your little fucking town. It doesn't have to be like celebrity status here. So whatever small circle you're in and you just happen to be the best at whatever you're at, I don't really think that height is the first thing people jump. I think height, the only thing when people care about height that I've noticed are in these videos at like these major cities where it's like they care about the shiniest car, they care about the biggest yacht, they care about the tallest guy. Like it's the most the first thing that pops out at you, so that's going to be the first thing they attack because they're shallow bastards.
Yeah, try doing it in like Kentucky, not on the streets of LA, maybe.
Do you? And it's gonna be asinine, but I'm just gonna throw this out there. Do you guys see it, or could you guys see it as You know how, like, for example, men don't want hoes, but yet secretly they'll like go and mess with some hoes. Like they'll mess with them short term, but not have a long term relationship. Could you see that with women and short guys where like they'll give them a chance, but they don't want it long term because that's not what they really want. Ideally, they'll just mess with him for the time being just to get their validation, get their rocks off, whatever the case may be. But long term, they want the tall guys so that their genes they can have like good family genetics of tall kids and things like that. Could you guys see
That's
it in
what I
that
was
way?
thinking, Julius. For men,
That two
how we're like
asinine.
attracted to wide hips and like long hair because that like indicates subconsciously psychologically health and like good genetics to mate with. That's the path I was gonna go down if I had to speculate. It's like something subconscious in the women that like makes them think it's gonna be good for genetic, you know,
Yeah.
procreation.
I think this generation is too dumb to think that far. I think they just want to be with whoever they want to be with and how it feels good. I think that the only reason why they would get complacent with the short guy is if he is legit living up to the fact that, oh, I'm not tall enough to be with her. Like, if you want to be 5'8", be 5'8", bro. But like, don't fucking beat yourself down and throw yourself a pity party. That shit's unattractive after a
Beat
while.
yourself down. Bum. I see what you did there, Angela.
Yeah. So I just think that it's one of those things where it's like if a guy dates a girl that quote unquote is a hoe, is she a hoe because she lives up to how she looks? Or is she a hoe just because you actually see her being a hoe and sleeping with a lot of people that you personally know, you think it's foul, whatever? I think the only reason why she would be deemed as a hoe is if he saw that. But if she looked like one and she lived like a pretty, I don't know, discreet, calm, peaceful life, you'd be like, oh shit, okay, I could actually see myself being with this girl. Engaging with her, you probably met her online, not realizing that she's probably just a girl who goes to work, goes home, family girl, and you're like, well, she's not actually a city girl. My bad. I actually will keep this one. I think that could literally happen if people didn't cast their own opinions and judgments.
Yeah, I see people in the chat saying that we're overthinking this. I don't think it's an overthink. I just think it's interesting. Okay, I'll bring this up. I didn't want to bring this up, but I hear men in the red pill space like, oh, you gotta be tall, this and that, and this and that. So that's why I kind of posed the question because you have the red pill space talking about men have to be tall. You can call them superficial, you can call them whatever you want, but they are talking about this, and there are men who may feel a certain type of way because they're not tall. So even if they're not tall, like you said, Angela, they can still have something else about them. Like, mind you, there could be a guy who's 5'8" or a guy who's 5'5". Maybe I'm throwing this too asinine, but Lil Wayne, for example, he's like what 5'5", 5'4", or something like that.
Barry
And
Sanders, best running back ever, was like 5'8", my favorite.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yet there are women that still like those guys because of the status that they have. So to me, I sometimes wonder if it is also because of demands. Like, for example, I'm not that tall. I don't want to say, but I'm not that tall. But nonetheless, if I come with things like if I come into my own job, my own money,
Sense of humor.
house,
I think you said you might have developed because of that a little better.
well, yeah. Well, I mean, I've always had like just a naturally funny thing. I
So
feel
you
I
realize
lost my
that'll help you out. Like if you're behind the 8 ball with the height thing or whatever, then I can really.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because women love to laugh. Like they love to just have a good time. So when you can make them laugh, it's always a good thing. So, but for me, having those other qualities does help. But then the height is kind of like, am I good for a good time or a long time? Do you know what I mean? So I would argue that men who are tall, even broke guys who are tall, probably will still get more women than the short guys who are rich. So
Oh,
I do
now
got
that's the question, ladies. Do we think that being tall can somehow overcome a lack of attributes or whatever that you would want to make?
good question.
Mm,
Good question.
I feel like yes and no, depending like what it is. Because like, I mean, I do have like a list of like deal breakers. It's like I can think of like a guy is cute, but it's like if he's not a Christian, if he does this, like if he parties too much, all that stuff, like that's enough for me to like not like him at all.
So what if he's below a certain height? You might not like him. Is that what you're saying? Or
No. I'm saying about like he can be like doesn't I don't care like how tall he is, but like if he doesn't have like those like those like top like non-negotiable standards, that's enough for me to like not go after him. Even like if he's rich and stuff and he's tall, if he doesn't have, if he's not a Christian, if he's
Sorry, Angela.
if he doesn't have a good work ethic, if that makes sense, like that's enough for me to like
Gotcha.
And I know
Perfect.
Julius keeps thinking I'm all talk, no action when it comes to saying short kings for the win. There's this dude who he's like, it's like I'm here, he's here in height. He's like a bodybuilder type of dude. He's in college Republicans. I want that dude to wife me up so bad.
Interesting.
And he's
Wait, hold
Amazing.
on.
Christian.
Wait, hold on. The short guy you're talking about, how tall is he?
It's like because like my height's like 5'3". I don't have like exact like number height, but like he's like I'm here. He's like right about here
He's shorter than you. He's like 5'2" or 5'1".
ish.
Okay, and you want him to
Wife
wife?
me up.
All right.
Like
Okay.
get me a ring, propose.
Let me ask you
marry.
this. No, I know. I'm glad you said that. I'm
He's
glad
from
you
college
said that.
Republican.
Let me ask you this. What is it about him? Like what makes you like him? Like what attracts
Well, he
you to
is
him?
very handsome. Well, to get the obvious out of the way, he's very, very handsome, but also he loves God. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him like miss a day of like church and stuff. Like, and he's always like inviting people to church. The way he carries himself, like he's so sweet to everybody. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him like genuinely like, get upset. Even if somebody like makes him upset, like you won't see like a reaction out of him. Like he's very hardworking. He's in the honors college, and he wants
Okay,
to.
so
Yeah.
go ahead.
And he wants to go into law.
This is a guy you go to school with. Are you doxing him right now by being this transparent?
Not really, no.
Hey, shout out to you, bro. If you haven't decided to ask this girl out on a date yet, what are you waiting for?
So you
I
said
cook, I
that,
clean, I sew.
She's making her case.
yeah, so you were saying that he's sweet. Like overall he's sweet.
Like the way he carries himself, like he really truly, because there's a difference between a Christian boy and a man of God.
Okay.
And like you can tell, like just like without even like asking like what religion he is, you can tell he's a Christian by the way he treats people. You know how hardworking he is and how much he just loves God.
Does he have a job?
Yeah. He actually interned. He did like 2 internships and stuff because he helped out with like the Rubio campaign and stuff for like Rubio for Senate, and then he actually worked in the Capitol building because like that's where he's trying to like get at, which is really really good.
Was he there for
like,
January 6th by chance? The security.
We won't go into all that. I don't want to go into all that.
Dumb political joke, folks. Don't mind me.
Does he have his own place?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Would you say that he makes like decent money a year?
I mean, I don't like ask and stuff just because it's like, I mean, we're only like in college, but like he's been doing like a lot of internships, so it's like I can tell like right after he graduates, he'll get hired immediately. Because like having those connections and stuff to give you like recommendations looks really, really good for you.
Yeah. If he didn't have all that, but he still carried, if he didn't have a job and wasn't doing an intern, all this stuff, but he still carried himself a certain way, would you still be attracted to him?
I mean, if he has an unclear future, that's like a deal breaker for me, no matter what your height is. Because I mean, I've turned down like a dude who's taller than me who, he wasn't clear about what his future was. So like, really, it doesn't matter like what your height is, because like that's enough.
But what if he carried himself? How you describe the way he carried himself? What if he still carried himself in that way, but didn't have the job or anything like that? But he still treated people.
Was real nice to everybody. He was.
Isn't it just human
I always think
for
about
people to be nice? Like this is wild nowadays that this is even like a topic that men.
No, I guess it's more of like, okay, let me elaborate more, because I mean, obviously, like it is a standard to be nice, but like how guys do have like that more like tough or like masculine persona. Like let's just say in some situations where some guys will, like lash out, like be visibly mad and stuff. Like he just has like the most professional reaction to everything. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's like.
Right. So
I think we were talking about like ones. And like you can tell by his character he's a Christian.
No, I mean,
Not
so
just a nice
I'm asking like, so I'm asking like, if he still carried himself, the same way Christian dude treated everybody with kindness, but he just didn't have a job, he didn't have his own play, but he always carried himself as a gentleman, would you still be attracted to him?
No. It's like I do think about like long term, like like when I look at a dude and like I consider him for dating, like I think about like how it would be in the long run and stuff. Like I think very much like in the future. Because I mean, like I do want
Interesting.
somebody like who's a hard worker, like who knows like what he wants to like do with the future. Because I mean, like you're not just picking like somebody you're in love with, you're picking like the future parent to your child.
Ambition,
Yeah.
Julius, potential.
Well,
We've covered this topic before.
yeah. I mean, somebody in the chat saying that that's a silly question. You know what's funny too is that like I'm
And
just
I can say
opening
this
up.
just because like I mean I'm in college, but like, I'm about to graduate. And, like the next step is like actually finding someone. Like I'm actually like at a point where it's like if I'm dating somebody, like you're actually thinking about like can I marry this person? It's not just like a high school relationship type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I find interesting to me, and I'll kind of like deviate for a second, but that's what I find interesting to me because we're saying that height doesn't matter. And again, some of the comments that it's a silly question. I don't think it is. I just think it's interesting. This is why we're diving into this because we're saying that the height doesn't matter as long as he has something about him. But if this guy carried himself as a gentleman, but just didn't have a job and didn't have all the other stuff, but he always carried himself as a gentleman, treated others kindly, things like that, good dude all around, just without the job. Now there's no attraction to him. And I'm trying to understand like why is that? I get that you're thinking long term, but if a man is going to treat you right because he's just a nice person like that, what is so wrong with that? It seems like
I mean,
in a
if you're
way,
think about it, if you're an adult and you don't have some sort of a job, or you're in college, you're studying to get your degree, but like your future is very, very unclear. It's like we're talking about like adults like here. Like if any guy, is an adult and he doesn't like have a job, it's like, what are you doing?
so then
Like I
that
don't care what it is, but it's like anything.
I mean, on that note, though, is it fair to say that money matters when it comes to a guy? Because I've heard women say it's not about the money, but it is
It's
because
not.
if he's just a nice guy and treats people with kindness, and he's a good dude all around,
I'm
but
not a
doesn't have a
gold digger,
job.
but I'm also not going to date a bum.
Sure, but then on that specific subject, why can't women ever admit that it is about money? Oh, it's not about money, but it is because you wouldn't date a bum, so it is about money. Not saying it's solely about that, but it's partially
Because it
about it. But
sounds
women always
shallow,
think
but
it's
I
People
think
need.
serious.
any woman that
No,
has
it
her head on
doesn't
right should
sound
acknowledge
shallow.
it.
It's just like if there's a list of things that need to be in a relationship, it's not the number one thing that needs to be. It's part of the list. But if we say it doesn't matter, then everyone just brushes it off like it doesn't matter. A sense of direction on what your goal is in life is so important. Also, it depends on how old the woman is. If someone's in her 30s and 40s, she's not going to date a bum because at this point, if you
Or
should at
date a
least
guy
have
with
your
no
shit
job.
together.
Would you
Now,
want
someone
to?
that's go ahead.
I know you go.
I'm just saying, like someone that said like she's in college, Meg's in college. I'm not in college. I'm almost 30. So to me, it's like if let's say I were to start dating again, anyone that I date would somewhat have to be financially stable, to have some consistent money flowing into their life. It can't be like, oh, like I just moved out my mom's house. I'm just trying to figure it out. That's cute if you're like 21 and if I was 21. But like again, we're casting on like women don't care. Women at what age? Because when you're 18, you're considered a woman. So when you're saying 18 and 28 and 38, it's all different for women. It just depends on what you're willing to tolerate and when you started living and when he started living.
Yeah, and it's
So
like
then why
especially
do
like for fathers too. Like my dad always says, like marry a guy who's a hard worker, who actually like is like equipped to take care of you, is equipped to take care of like a family and stuff. It shows like maturity more so like in the guy. Like if I was like pretend you were my dad and I was like in my mid to late 20s, and I were to bring home a guy but he doesn't have a job, would you want me to date him? Like realistically.
No, but I would have wanted you to make something happen a long time ago, young lady.
What do you mean?
I'm just kidding.
I'd rather be 30 and single than 30
I'm totally messing around. It's not my place to say
yeah?
anything like
So
that.
then why do women say it's not about the money? Like why do they say that sentence? It's not about the money, but it is.
Because when the questions are framed, it's make it seem like, do you want to date a guy who's financially stable? Like, yes. But then, so you're a gold digger. Well, now they're framing it. Well, not you, but people, and maybe you. I don't really know. I'm just going to state it out there. These questions are just painting the picture of the person not to be a like complete like gold digger. When fine, let's say a guy didn't have any money. That's fine. Do you want to be the guy in the kitchen cooking and cleaning while I be the breadwinner? That's already like nobody wants to date that girl like that because women that are boss babes are unattractive. So what exactly is the guy doing if he doesn't want to be financially stable?
Unless
or
your husband is Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, yeah.
Stay-at-home dad, man. I'm trying to be that
He gets
stay-at-home dad.
paid well to cook at home. So like that's again like just full circle.
No, I'm teased. I could never imagine that. What do you get like a I don't know, like a wage? Like, do you get your chore money a week from? Does your wife like shell it out like how much you can spend? Like, I couldn't imagine.
So okay, so then
It depends how
in the
you
end,
frame the question. Like, it's not about like the money. It's more so like no woman is a like we're not can't say no woman is a gold digger, but like when we say it's not about the money, it's just pointing out like we're not gold diggers. Like you don't have to be like Elon Musk rich, but it's like if you're any adult and you don't have a job and you're just in your parents' basement playing video games all day, you are not ready for marriage.
yeah.
That's how we would describe it.
If you have no income and no potential, no prospects, nothing holding you back from having income as a grown adult, I would encourage like my little sister or little cousin or whoever. That
Dump him.
man is a loser, frankly, and not worth giving the time of day to.
See, as LTT said, as a grown adult, you should have your own income. Facts.
I mean,
No,
it's okay if they
I
don't,
agree
but
with
if he's
you.
trying to like seriously like wife you up or like date you seriously, he should be showing some sort of initiative towards wanting to be a provisioner or at
that's
least
just part of being an
self-sufficient.
adult, and part of being a man is to like be able to like have your own income to provide for like your future family. That's just part of being an adult.
Yeah, no, I'm
And if a guy doesn't
totally
have a job, he's not an adult.
yeah, I'm totally okay with men should work. I'm totally okay with that. I'm not trying to say that men shouldn't work and we should just be nice and get a woman. I would just say on that particular subject, I just always noticed that I know the question gets framed a certain way, but I've always noticed that women will say it's not about the money, but then they want to say, well, I don't want no bum. So it's like you do want it to be about money. You just want your man to be financially stable. There's nothing wrong with saying that and acknowledging that. I wouldn't say you're a gold digger. I would just say that you want something long term. So you want part of that long term to be financially stable. Nothing wrong with that. I'm okay with that. I just think to say it's not about money, but then you don't want a bum, it kind of contradicts yourself. I don't
So,
know.
Joyce, I think it's like the same. And ladies, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the same thing as the height thing. It's like, look, it's not necessarily a deal breaker if he's not making a lot of money. However, if he's checking off a lot of the other boxes, I can overlook that. If he's checking off all the other boxes and I had my choice, of course I would prefer him to have a little money coming in too, just like I prefer him to be taller, but it's not a deal breaker.
All right, fine.
I want that dude to wipe me up.
Guys, for the two guys on the panel, you guys want to date a good girl, right? Everybody wants a good girl, right? A good person with a good heart, good purpose.
What's a good girl?
Sure.
Huh?
I always say
Define
no
good
woman
girl.
is good. I always say no woman is good, but all is well.
Okay, you want a virgin. How about that? Don't you want a virgin?
Yes.
Okay, so you had a virgin, right? It's all about being a virgin. What if a virgin had no ass and no cooking skills? Would you want to marry with her? Because you said you want a virgin, and those are hard to find nowadays.
Damn, no ass.
Well,
And especially if you're not a virgin either.
Yeah, the ass thing, the whole that doesn't really matter to me necessarily, but the cooking thing, yeah, I'd be like, okay, she should know
But you
how to
said you
cook.
wanted
I
a
mean,
virgin, so like, what's the matter? Like, you said you wanted a virgin, so what does it matter? She can't cook.
well, what does virginity have to do with her cooking?
It's the same thing. What does it being a guy who's financially stable have to do with a woman saying that it's weird that he's a bum or like a woman I don't see how the contradicting has to do with anything. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because it's like if it's not about in that case, if it's not about the money, but then they don't want to date no bum, then it is about the money.
But what? Wait, a bum is somebody who doesn't want to improve in life. Who's just like, I'm done with life. This is what it is. I don't understand. Like, it has nothing to do with money. It's about being on like a road or a journey or a purpose in life. Like, it has nothing to do with money. It's more so like, what do you have in life or in line for you? Unless a bum is dating another bum, that makes more sense. But why should a woman have at least finances or be mentally stable, emotionally stable? And then someone asks her a question like, what, does it matter if a guy is a bum? Would you date him? No, I would not date a bum. So you're a gold digger, or like you only care about money. But I have all of these things. So I don't get what's contradicting about it. It's more like preference and standards.
Yeah, because again, women say I don't want to date a bum. You're saying that a guy who's not ambitious, but again, finances still matter because he has to have some ambition, and that ambition is going to have to follow money. So you want a guy that's making some money in order to have a long-term relationship with him, because you got to think kids, a house, and things like that. All the things that come with being in a relationship and or marriage is going to involve some finances. So to say you don't want a bum, because it's like, well, I've heard women say, I just want a man that treats me right. So if you had a man that just treated you right, what does that involve? If it's not about the money, you want a man that treats you right, then why not date a bum. He's treating you right.
I guess because being financially stable, it like in a lot of girls' eyes, like it's just the standard. Like the
Most girls don't want to be
standard.
financially taking care of a guy, right? I think that would have something to do with it.
Well, let's just talk about how money is not the whole ultimate everything. The money affects how you live your life, how you think, and how you are as an individual.
And how you
So
raise your
what you-
family.
Yeah, like let's say someone's they're good at their job, they're competent. That affects how they navigate through their everyday life. So it's more so like, okay, you have money, cool. You can be a douchebag with it, or you can be I don't know, a God-fearing man, whatever the fuck it could be. But at the end of the day, if we're saying like it's all about money, but how does the money affect you as an individual? So a bum is just comfortable with his life. It's not the fact that he doesn't have any money. You could be a bum and be working and progressing to be somewhere or something. Then obviously there's no judgment there. But if you're just a bum and you've accepted life and you've given up, I don't think that's something that anyone should tolerate. I think that's just the whole point to this.
No, so I'm just reading the comments. I'm only I know this sounds like very tedious, but I'm just asking because I just always find that interesting. I know it's like I'm playing semantics here, but I just always find that statement interesting to me. You know what I mean? So I get it. I do think men should work. I do think that men should be able to have a little finances. I even think that women who are single should have some finances, and then once they get into a relationship and get married, then things should be different. But I just always think it's interesting to me because, like you said, Angela, if he's a bum
over here.
you're saying that if he's a bum and he's still working, then whatever, that's totally fine. But if he just like giving up on life, that's a whole different thing. But if he still treats the woman right, he's treating her right. So
how can you treat a woman right if you yourself are not living right as a righteous man? If you've given up as a bum, that will affect your state of mind. That would affect the way.
And what does the Bible say about it? A man who doesn't provide for his family is worse than an unbeliever.
No, sure. But what I'm saying is that, like, okay, let's say he's not making money, but he treats everybody right. He treats you right. He helps out. He does what he can. He just doesn't have any money, but he's still treating you right. Like he basically checking up all the boxes.
You can treat somebody
finances.
right, but not be in a place where you're ready for like a big commitment as marriage and stuff. Like, because I mean, obviously, like a kid like under the age of 16 in high school can easily, be a good guy, treat everybody right. But I mean, he's really young. He doesn't have a job, but like, just because like he treats everybody right and he has good character and good morals doesn't mean he's ready for marriage.
Sure, but what I'm saying, but
I think you're saying it so broadly in a sense where it's like, what if he's a good guy, but he's a bum, but he can treat you good? It's like saying the homeless man gave me his 3-day leftover food because it's his food that he's saving for the week, but at the kind of his heart, he's giving me his food because he would eat it if it's 7 days old. I want my food hot and fresh, but because he's giving me his caliber of good, I should just accept that, hey, it's good. I think it's such a far stretch to say a guy who was a bum, who is not improved in life, who's given up, he can treat me better than how he's treating himself. It's just like, it doesn't really make sense.
Anybody can treat someone right, but it doesn't equate to them being ready for marriage.
I think
ready to, raise a family, be a father, all that stuff.
What you guys seem to be like agreeing on to disagree on almost is like we're saying the same thing really, but just in different ways. Is Julius is asking like, well, why wouldn't you just date a bum? And you guys are saying, well, a bum wouldn't be able to offer me the things I need from a relationship as far as even taking care of himself. I don't want to be taking care of a man financially. So Julius, I think to answer, if I'm not mistaken, what they're saying is like he might not have to have money. That might not be a factor, but there has to be some sort of like initiative as a grown, mature adult that shows he's going to be at least taking care of himself, so I don't have to as a woman.
Yeah, I'm not against that. Like I think men should work. I think women should work if they're single. I'm totally on board with that. I was just saying
it's not just taking care of your spouse. Like for me, like for a guy, like how well he's like financially stable. Like he's not just gonna be taking care of me. He's also gonna be taking care of like any children we bring into the world. If we choose to adopt any children we choose to adopt and stuff. It's like it's more.
Sure. Yeah. What if he wants to be a stay-at-home dad? Would you have a guy play that role? If you could financially like afford to? No. Why not?
That's just so weird. Unless he is Gordon Ramsay and can clean a house in under an hour.
That's the one. He's the homemaking man of your dreams. Like, could you imagine if you could financially like facilitate that? Would you accept that role and have him play that role, house husband?
If he's Gordon Ramsay, I don't have a crush on Gordon Ramsay. Spoiler alert! Just a disclaimer.
Yeah.
If he can cook like Gordon Ramsay. Who's a good cleaner?
I don't know.
Never heard
Mr.
anyone
Clean.
say his name
If he
like
can-
this before.
If he
It's
can
like,
fix up, if he can cook like Gordon Ramsay, fix up a house like the Property Brothers, and design good clothes like who's a good male designer?
I don't know. Tom,
I'm not into all that male designer stuff.
Tommy Hilfiger or something. I don't
Tommy
know.
Hilfiger. Then I'll make an exception. But unless you can do all that, nah.
But you couldn't imagine that you would grow to somehow like resent him, or maybe just like look at him in a light that wasn't manly, or could you actually imagine that role being
I
cool?
guess it depends because like there is such thing as like people who are like disabled veterans or like people who are just like disabled and stuff like who can't work certain jobs. But at the same time, like I've
No,
also
but nothing
people
like
who are-
that. Like
I've also
he's
seen
fully
people-
capable. He's just this
Yeah.
is like his niche, and he decided, hey,
It's
you're
like-
making a great income. I'm going to
Yeah,
step
he's
up and
just
be the
a-
house husband.
If he's just
so wait, so
old,
that
I
means
won't
we're
tolerate
reversing
it.
the roles that the woman's gonna be masculine, the guy's gonna be completely submissive. How does a
I mean,
man
that's-
feel about that position?
Yeah,
Please,
it's like
like,
the
That's
woman-
why I'm asking you, ladies,
say-
if you can find that to be
Okay,
attractive
so-
or not.
Oh my gosh! So before this ties into it. We were talking about like Pearl saying like women shouldn't like have the right to vote or like certain rights that men have because they don't work jobs. Well, it's like, well, if a guy wants to be a stay-at-home husband, wants to do all this and that, then he needs to submit to the woman if she's the one making the income. So it's like vice versa.
Yeah. Would you guys be able to find that, like, play the dynamics appropriately, or do you think that would crash and burn?
I
People
guess
just need Jesus.
I think that's a preference thing because I have content creator friends who the girl makes more money than the guy, and they have a pretty healthy, at least from what I know, a very healthy relationship. She makes more money than him. I wouldn't say that he stays at home, so I think it's a far too. I think there has to be some sort of commonality in your lifestyle. Like I just think that's just too far for a woman to come home and she's masculine and she's the provider, and the guy's just like, "Honey, the eggs are cooked, and little Lucy today did
I
her
hope
first
the home is clean enough for you, baby.
Listen,
I
I
worked all
just think
day.
personally, as my own preference, projecting onto this conversation, that's a huge turn off for me. If a man is fine doing that, you might as well just change your pronouns. Then it would make more sense as to why that's an acceptable lifestyle for you. Now, if she happens to make more money than him and they're both working, that's not a big. I don't think that's a big fucking deal at all. Some people may make it a big deal, but I don't think it is.
I've got cookies baking in the oven, sweetheart.
Yeah.
No, I say
Doesn't
like
even
if a, guy,
imagine, bro.
if a guy wants to reverse the roles like so badly, he needs to be ready to submit to the woman because the only reason why they say in the Bible like women submit to the men is just because like they're the ones providing and all that stuff. But it's like if it's a woman providing and you're the one staying at home, it's like you
I've
gotta
got the
take
bubble
what they-
bath all ready for you, dear.
Oh, stop! No,
You gotta stop, bro. It just that makes me look so bad.
you make me not
So-
want to get married. I'm 22.
I couldn't imagine that.
So overall, to bring it back towards the height thing. So height doesn't matter as long as he has charisma about him,
There's more.
amongst other things.
It's not a deal breaker, I think, is what we concluded. But it is a bonus, right?
I
If
think
the other
it's
things are there.
it is equivalent to like the body count conversation. To some people, it's a huge deal breaker. To some people, it doesn't matter at all. It just, again, I think it depends on your preference. Like some people say 5 is a high body count. Some people say 15 is a high. It just really depends on your preference. Somebody could say 5'8" is tall because they're 4'1", 4'9". It just really depends. I don't think it's a deal breaker. If
And-
they had the option to choose something like, Julius said he wants a virgin. If somebody had the option, they probably would. But I don't think everybody would. So that's just my
Also,
opinion.
not to mention, like,
I mean,
even if
virgin-
you do find what you're looking for, even if Julius does find a virgin, that's like, what if she wants a virgin as well? She's a virgin and she
Yeah.
wants somebody who also is a virgin. It's like you also got to think about like what the other person wants too. It's like I always try to say, like,
100%, 100%.
don't judge
Yeah.
people or don't hold them to a standard that you yourself could not live up to.
No,
which is
sure,
why
sure.
I'm not
No,
always super
100%.
keen on like having like those kind of like standards unless you yourself are living up to those standards.
Sure.
I don't know.
100%. Yeah, I already 100%. If a woman said I'm a virgin and I said, yeah, I'm not, but I'm abstinent, and she said I don't want that, I'm totally fine with it. I'm not like, oh, what? You don't want me, you hoe? But I don't get mad at that because again, preferences, right? She can have a preference. If she said I don't want to date you because you're not a virgin, that's totally fine with me. I am okay with that.
Good to
I'd
know you're
rather
not
make the
Andrew
right
Tate.
decision. You said what?
Good to know you're not Andrew Tate.
No,
What do you
It would
mean
have
by
been
that?
like
yeah,
he would have had a different reaction. It would have been like, so you're a virgin and you're turning down a good man who will provide for you. I might cheat on you on the weekend, but I'll provide for you. I'll do this and this. I'm like, yeah, you ain't that hot.
yeah. I listen again. If that's I'm no Andrew Tate. If that's her preference, that's totally fine. I mean, somebody asked me this question just real quick on this little topic. Somebody asked me this question. They said, what if she had, let's say she's like 28 years old and she slept with 20 guys, but she was abstinent. Would I still date her? I would just say, nah, I wouldn't. I appreciate her practicing abstinence. I do appreciate that, but I just wouldn't accept that because of the fact that she had 20 dudes. I just wouldn't accept that. If it was like one
What if
guy,
she?
and
I know, because I know. Finish what you're saying first.
I was gonna say if it was one guy, she had a boyfriend, but then she made a mistake to have sex before marriage, and she said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to be abstinent. And then I found out she was abstinent for like 15, 20 years, whatever the case may be, or 10 years, however long it is. Then okay, I'll get to know her. I say, yeah, I'm abstinent too, and we'll go from there. But if she's like 20, 25 guys and then she practices abstinence, I'm like, I'm cool. So
I guess it's more so like from the way I look at it. It's like obviously, I mean, and I was even told this like by my parents and stuff because, I mean, I grew up going to like a Christian school. Like I've literally known about God ever since I was a toddler and stuff. And I grew up in the faith. I'm still in the faith. But my mom did tell me like, you'll meet some guys like in college like who are Christians, but like might have had a past. But keep in mind, not everybody like had the privilege of growing up in a Christian household. A lot of them who like are like one of the guys who I know from like my church group on campus, like his parents like aren't believers and he didn't grow up in the faith. He didn't come to know God until his sophomore year of college.
You talking about born again virgins?
I just want to tap in. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but you do realize you have super chats. Just letting you know. Just wanted to say that.
okay.
Wait, where are the chats? Like, I must be missing something. Don't let me interrupt, but I
Yeah,
don't
no,
see them on Age of Men.
I haven't been bringing them. Oh, because a lot of people that's coming from Angela's page, and she's
Oh,
she's not on her YouTube, so it showed up on her page, but not ours.
Yeah.
So her audience is on her page, but our audience is
So I
on
guess
our page.
that makes sense.
so I guess
Sorry,
part of
people
this
on
is
Angela's page, if I've not been interacting with
Yeah,
you.
so yeah, I can see all of them. I'll kind of get to the super chat. I just want to kind of get done with this topic, and then we'll read the super chats. But we're just super chats for now to get it out the way. So here are the three that came in from. Is it Kazim? And if I'm saying it wrong, my bad. If it's Kazim or my fault. But he says, women like tenderness that doesn't come at the expense of your masculinity, but as an addition to it. It gives it purpose, direction, and trustworthiness needed for a long-term relationship. Interesting. Okay.
Amazing.
I
Thank you for the super chat, man.
I think
It
he hit
goes
it.
towards
He
making
hit the
these shows
nails.
better.
He hit the
yeah,
nail.
I appreciate that. This is from. Am I saying his name? Am I? Solomon.
Solomon?
Uh,
Solomon?
You can call her
men have
Sandra.
always. Men have always been able to get resources easier than women. If a woman is doing better than you, it says something about your competence level as a man. Yeah, maybe because you're not trying hard enough to really be where you want to be, and so
If a
yeah,
woman,
could be
it depends
something just
what
don't
they're
try hard.
doing. If like y'all are both
Yeah,
doing what you love, but what she does just so happens to make more money than you,
like
I wouldn't look at
OnlyFans.
it.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but
But
like
no, I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. Um, he also super chatted and said, men need hypergamy just as much as women do. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think a man's hypergamy is based on his status level. The higher status he is, the more hypergamy he'll have when it comes to women. I think the same thing with women too. The higher status that they are, they have hypergamous nature as well. So she's making a certain amount of money. This was actually an article written by Forbes not too long ago, where if a woman who makes more, then her hypergamy will kick in where she'll look for a guy that's making equal to, if not more. So they wouldn't mind the quote unquote broke guys. Like if she's making 100K, he's making like 50, 70K. She wouldn't necessarily mind it, but I know she will want the guy to make just as much sure, if not more than, because it's just how women are. Not like that's a bad thing, and it's fine if they want that. I'm just saying I think that's just how it is. The more they make, the one the guy that's making just as much, if not more. But if they want a guy to make less, that's up to them too. That does happen as well. So I'll segue into the next topic where we kind of talk about, because we was talking about my preferences and whatnot when it comes to virgins. Should men and women be virgins until marriage? And my
Angela, you
thoughts.
got an opinion on that?
This guy. Hold on, before you get to that opinion, I just want to say so. My opinion is that I think that men and women should be virgins until marriage. I think it weeds out a lot of people that just want to just sleep around just to have fun. I think too many people are too addicted to sex and not trying to actually find somebody long term. They want the short term. They want a good time, not a long time. So I think if men get back on their purpose and actually take care of themselves financially, physically, spiritually, mentally, all these things, I think that men can actually lead a lot better because their mind is not diluted to sex. Because once you have sex, you want to have more sex. You want to have just more and more sex. That tends to happen because it's like, oh man, it feels good in this girl. Now I want to sleep with this girl. Now I want to sleep with that girl. And then you get lost in the sauce, and now you can't lead because you're trying to have sex with this chick, and then you think you're in love with this girl because of what the sex she gave you. Then in the long run, you're like, man, this isn't really the girl for me. I didn't realize how annoying she was, or something like that. So I think that sometimes men and women, well, especially men, can fall in lust versus love. So they get with a woman because of the lust, but they realize they're not in love with her. So that's why I think both men and women should be virgins. And plus, too, it gets rid of the single parenthood, because in America, we are the number one country with the highest rate of children living in single parent homes. 80% of that is that of single mothers. So the fact that we have these, and then you got to think there's step parents and things like that. We got kids nowadays who got multiple moms, multiple dads, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that does so much damage on the kids that we don't think about that stuff. We just go, well, it didn't work out in my relationship, so I'm going to move on to the next person. And because they might have resentment, they want to do it in spite, whatever the case may be. So now they move on to this relationship, and then they have a baby before marriage, and then it doesn't work out. So to get rid of all this mess, I think that men and women should be virgins. I think it does better for the relationship in the long run. I think statistically, virgins do a lot better in their marriages than those who are not virgins. So, Megan, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts on should men and women be virgins until
He
marriage?
said Angela cool off in the dugout.
Not what it is at all.
More move, Julius.
Yes. So my answer is yes. And if you're not a virgin, or even if you're a virgin or not, everybody repent, give your life to God. If you're a virgin, keep on being a virgin. If you're not, choose to abstain, like surround yourself with good, like godly people to help you like on a good path. Because the center of every good relationship is God, in my opinion. And like that's what makes a marriage and a relationship strong, when God's at the center of it. I obviously, like, yes, like obviously everybody, I feel like in my opinion, should be virgins and stuff, but like not everybody grew up in a Christian household. Not everyone had like strict parents, keep like shielding them like from the evils of this world. And some people don't come to know God until later on in their life. So it's like as soon as you come to know God, like practice abstinence, and that'll also like help too.
Angela?
Says the non-married.
Being that we live in 2023, I don't think that's ever going to happen, so I'm not going to entertain that. Also, I'm not religious. I'm not going to shit on anyone who is religious, but personally, I just don't think it's realistic. I don't think being a virgin and statistically saying that they're still married quantifies that they're actually successfully happy, or even, probably doing the whole relationship thing right. So if we go by the numbers, sure, it seems successful, but I mean, I think I would, if you compare it to my grandma and grandpa who were married together, and every night was a Heineken bottle, and her just being a miserable woman and neglecting her kids and not properly raising them because there was no connection between the two. So I wouldn't say just because they are together does not mean that it's a successful relationship. I don't think that waiting till marriage to find out all the above is the only thing and the only way for someone to have a successful relationship.
Julius, do you want to respond to that or anything?
No, I was gonna say let's remove religion. 'Cause I know that's what it kind of goes towards. Let's remove religion and come from just a moral standpoint. You don't guys think it's morally right for men and women to be virgins until marriage?
Uh, no, no.
Why not?
I just don't see the relevance of it. I don't see how there's so many things in life that I could just relate it to. I think that again, you can probably refer and say that people are indulging into sex culture and hookup culture and hypersexualized. But I wouldn't even say it's. I think somebody who lacks confidence in themselves would probably try drugs one time, drink alcohol one time, have sex one time before marriage, and be like, "Oh my god, this is so crazy! I have to do it all the time." I just don't know why that's such a extreme example. Why that would be somebody who decides to engage into like their first relationship at like 18 and has to date what they like and will tolerate and what they won't tolerate. I think that's more of like a healthier route than just meeting someone and getting married to them and finding out like, I don't know, is this normal? Like this is so, toxic or abusive or something.
Well, shouldn't that be on the person to vet who they're going to be with rather than just giving somebody just because? Because I think that's the problem too, is that we're not vetting people anymore. We're just kind of, oh, this person, I like this person, so I want to get with them, or like to rush to get married, whatever the case may be. And so we're not vetting people anymore. We're not taking the time to get to know somebody. We're just like, especially those who have sex before marriage, um, they're just hooking up and then thinking that sex is love and love is not sex, and so that can actually ruin the relationship because we're not taking time to get to know somebody. We're just rushing into things because it felt good, and they say, "Well, it got to be the first 3 months," and then some people think that sex is what dictates who the person is. I would disagree because sex could be good with this chick, and then all of a sudden, like I don't condone this, but this is just what can happen. That a man has sex with his girl, and oh, she didn't suck me up well, but then the next chick sucks you up very very well. You're like, oh my god, the best head ever. Well, why is it the best head ever? She's
I don't know.
practicing on other dudes.
I just think that's so extreme. At first, I don't I think people we
Is it
can't
extreme?
define
And
what
that's what happens.
it's not extreme. I just think that everyone's definition of best is different. That could have been your first best head, and you'd be like, you know what, I like this. Now I'm going to take the time to date this person. I'm not going to buy a car unless I know how it runs. So, well, you just got to buy the first car that the car has been sold to you. It is what it is. I'm sorry. I need to know what the hell I'm getting into. I think this is a very normal. Personally, it's a preference. Some people like surprises. I don't like surprises. Not on saying you need to drive 10 cars to find out what you like, but you should at least get a chance to at least get to know each other. And personally, between me and my husband, I believe that sex is the bond of a relationship. So to me, if I don't at least know how I feel about you and that, I don't want to find out on the wedding day and find out this is not it for me.
Angela, did you just say husband?
Yes.
Congratulations, girl.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. That slipped my mind. I actually meant to congratulate you on you getting married. So congratulations on your marriage.
Is this an Asian men breaking story?
What is it?
Are we breaking the news?
You guys know I don't talk about my private life online too much, like what I do.
I know. We'll move on. But amazing, girl. Good for you.
And green card is nice. Tax benefits. Woohoo.
Jesus Christ.
The husband word just stuck out to me. I was like, whoa.
Really adulting nowadays.
Yeah, you are. I'm proud of you.
You guys think Steven Crowder, for example, got a virgin? How did that play out for him?
Ooh, fair point.
Yeah, no. I understand that. And I saw that mentioned before.
Yeah.
One situation doesn't dictate every situation, so it's like we're taking the
Yeah, Tim
exception
Tebow.
as the rule. So just
Tim
because it
Tebow was
happened to
32.
Steven
Was it 32? Oh, sorry.
No. I was gonna say I go ahead. It's all good. Go ahead.
It's short. I was just gonna say Tim Tebow was a 32-year-old virgin when he got married, and he married a Miss Universe.
Very cute. I get to say the same thing. The exceptions don't make the rule for everybody. I don't know. There's a lot of people that are getting divorced. There's people that are still together. So it just really depends on who we're talking about and the whole situation.
Yeah, I think that when people say things like, if I'm a virgin, he's a virgin, and then we, have sex on the wedding day, and then we realize sex is not good. To me, I think that's a dumb thing to say. I think that should be the experience for both of you. That should be part of your journey. The fact that you were both virgins and you got married and you experienced that romance on your wedding day. Like you can, that's something that's like a memory you guys can share. And so to say that, well, that's why I always find it funny to me with the body count thing. I don't condone this, but I always find it funny with the whole body count when women say, "Oh, why is it fair for men to sleep around but women can't?" Because half the time, women, if not all the time, most of the time, women are already saying that they want a man who's experienced. So why would it matter what his body count is if you want him to be experienced? But I don't condone that, but I think that's interesting to me. So it's like I don't think that people should go around having sex just to find out who's the best. Like I just disagree with that notion.
I don't think people are having sex just to find out who's the best, unless you're talking about people in hookup culture. There are people who are just
in the
dating.
comments. Yeah, somebody mentioned that in the comments. They were saying that.
Well, yeah, that's just like an example. I wouldn't say that's everybody. Not everybody's indulging in a hookup culture, nor can they represent all men and women.
Most people say that though. I've heard the argument a lot of time on Instagram, even on Discord.
Yeah, but Julius, you and I know that just because we hear these things doesn't mean we take them for what they say. Like, come on, people. I deal with people all the time, and they say crazy things. But in real life, I brought up, for example, Fresh and Fit in real life. People are like, "What the fuck is that?" So if I go strictly online, everyone online knows what Fresh and Fit is. People in real life is like, "What the fuck is that?" Nobody knows what any of these things are.
Even in real life, I've had a conversation with these people off camera, and because there are folks who want to be on camera, and I've asked them off camera about this question. And they said, "Well, I don't want to get with him, and then he sucks in bad." And I'm just like, "But why would it matter if you're both virgins? If the man knows how to lead, if you want a man to lead, then he should know how to lead you into romance, and that will make the experience great for both of you guys."
The rest of your lives to figure out what makes y'all feel really good. It's like. You don't have to like get it right on the first try. It might not be like awkward.
I agree.
But it's like once you're married, you have the rest of your life to figure that out, and you have like nothing really holding you back from it.
Yeah, and then real quick, I want to address this comment real quick. Somebody said, "So I should be uncomfortable on my honeymoon." Awkward. I'm writing it all down. But here's what's so funny about that. It's like you talk about awkwardness, but then yet when you go have sex with a female who's not your wife, it's going to be awkward anyways. So this is what I'm talking about. I think society just likes to have sex because they want to indulge in that kind of behavior, and that devilish behavior. It's like it's going to be awkward when you lose your virginity anyway. So why not just make it your wife?
What is devilish about sex if you're doing it while you're married and all that? I don't get it. If you're dating someone and you're finding out if you want to be with them to marry them, what's the difference between that and then marrying someone and having sex? Is that devilish while you're having sex and married?
Yeah. Based on my Christian values, it's a sin to have sex before marriage. Based on my Christian values.
Oh, see, but now you're bringing it back to religion. So we're talking about sex before marriage or religion and all the above?
Well, yeah, to answer your question, I'm just saying for me, my Christian values is a sin. I think for secular, having sex before marriage, some people may last long, but I think it destroys it a whole lot more because again, there are folks, and especially if you got women who are on birth control, sometimes when they're on birth control, that makes they have an impulsive decision where they think they want to be with the guy, and once they're off birth control, they don't want to be with that guy, so that could ruin the relationship as well. So that's why I say sex before marriage. Even for a secular, I don't think it's right because I think it can damage the relationship because once you've had sex with her, what more do you need to know? She gave it up to you.
So, Julius, how do you resonate with this comment? Hang on, my chat's freezing up. But somebody said something I think that you're kind of getting at. They said, I find it concerning people are focusing on sex as the determining factor of a relationship and not the personality or how you can actually enjoy the experience beyond just sex all the time. How do you resonate with that or not?
Well, I find it concerning people are focusing on sex as a determining factor of a relationship and not the personality or how can you actually enjoy the experience beyond. Yeah, no, that's a great comment because that's what I mean. People are allowing sex to dictate the long term. It's like if they're not good in sex, I can't be with them. Then it's like what's going to happen? You're going to go around and having sex with every single woman or every single man just to find out who's good. And to me, sex should not be the dictator of your relationship because, mind you, just earlier, right, we spoke about the height situation. Well, as long as he has a personality, some charisma, things like that, right? We talk about those things. So it's not just the height, it's what comes along with it. So why, when it comes to sex, it's just the sex to see if they're good? Why not what comes along with it? Why can't we just know somebody based on personality? Why does it have to be the sex is good or not that determines whether or not the relationship works?
Because if we go off of the statistics, aren't men always the one who always cheats? So if sex isn't good, who's the first one to make the first move, whether it's emotionally or physically? So again,
this world just needs squeezes.
Wait, hold on, Angela. Can you, sorry, Nick. I heard you, but Nick said, "Oh," and I didn't hear that last part. So sorry about that. Can you repeat that?
My bad.
If we're
No,
making
you
it
good. You
seem
good.
like, okay, someone not being tall enough does not affect the entire relationship with, like, the dynamic of it. But someone not enjoying sex or being good at sex or even using that as the bond of the relationship, statistically, like we love to do on the internet, aren't men always the first one to step out of the relationship to pretty much end the relationship when they're not happy or satisfied with sex?
Yeah, I don't agree with men stepping out when the sex is not good. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, you don't agree, but it happens. It's not about your personal opinion. It's about what actually happens in reality. And the reality is, we say that sex shouldn't be a big factor in the relationship, but it is, because at the end of the day, biologically, when men wake up every day with their nice little hard on, now we have to deal with that. We can't ignore these things. It's not that we can say it's just emotional, ignore it. Just go bake a cake. You should be fine. We can't
I
act
think
like this
it's
is an actual thing.
I think it's different if she's withholding sex versus the sex being bad. Because the man can always lead her. See, that's the thing. That's the problem I think with men may have an issue with. Men are not leading the romance correctly. So it's one thing to withhold it because of whatever the case may be. If man steps out, it's still not right. But if she's not giving him the best sex, it's for him to lead her into the best sex.
Uh, okay, I don't get what you're trying to say exactly.
You talking about
That
training
men,
her, dare I say, Julius? Training your
well,
wife?
I'm just saying that men should be able to lead in the romance. If the sex is not good, then they should be able to lead in the romance.
So how can he lead in the romance if they're both virgins and they both lost each other? It's like creating a diagram that you've never even lived in. Like, how are you supposed to know what to measure it to?
You can. Well, there should be no
Pull out of
measuring
thin
this.
air.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if you're both virgins, then you'll naturally know how to romance each other because you're into each other. So you're both old enough to know. Okay, we're gonna hit the bed. We're gonna undress. We're gonna feel on each other. You're old enough to know that. So it's like it's a
Hey,
natural
yo,
thing.
there's kids
It's,
watching.
I'm just saying it's a natural thing for you to know what you're doing. If a man can lead her and say, "Hey, come here," whatever the case may be, then they can have decent sex. But I just don't think, to me, having the experience and then saying, "Well, I gotta have sex with lots of dudes, I gotta have sex with lots of girls, or to find
It
the
doesn't
one."
have to be lots. It could be literally just two people or one person prior. I think this is such a far extreme like comparison. It doesn't,
Even
I don't
even
think it's
that could be done.
realistic. Like, here you're saying like somebody should just instinctively know that we should not do these things. We should know how to lead someone to it. But for that, then why are people, for example, you should go to work, you should be treated good by your boss. But how do you not realize that your boss has been treating you like shit because this is probably better? This is your first job. You're just going to tolerate these things. We tolerate things because we don't know it, but it affects your mental state every time you come home. You're like, I don't know why I fucking hate my job, but I hate my job. Is this normal? You start questioning your beliefs the same way people question everything on the internet. So we're saying like we should just leave it as it is. There's going to be thoughts evolving as to why he gets to ejaculate and she doesn't, because he doesn't know how to navigate through the box. And it's going to be an issue regardless over time.
Yuck, the box.
The box.
Rude advice says,
Got him.
how long has Julius been married? I'm not married at all. I'm not married. I am practicing abstinence. I already know pros and cons to my dating market. I already know all that. So I haven't been married at all. But what I'm just saying is it's just that I think with the way society's going now, with single parenthood, kids having multiple parents, STDs, abortion, especially when men are coercing women to have abortions, it's like 23%. With all that going on, and especially hookup culture, even though they say 1 in 3 men are not having sex, but there are still men having sex. Even if it's not the top 1%, there's still guys based on economics, there's still guys who are having sex. To me, I think all of that is a problem in society. And I think that if we do away with all that and focus on ourselves and actually find the one person, we can be with or should be with versus the many people we need to experience with, I think we can do better as a society.
Interesting. I still
Hey, it's just a
disagree.
personal preference that Julius has for one day wife. Don't shame the man, That's all I'll say.
No shaming here, but I think that when you cast your opinions as if it should be the worldwide preference, I think that's the biggest issue. Because, for example, every time I bring out Stephen Crowder, everyone's like, that's just the one example. But if we sit here and if I did, I don't know, pull up celebrities that got, divorced after being virgins, well, they're celebrities. It doesn't count. It doesn't matter what
Celebrities are
Status.
human beings too.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick, that's one of his comments. Big Head Rico said, Julius, I'm a virgin, but laughing my A off, told me to take it to the whole I don't know what to do. Don't have sex, bro. Just take care of
Repent.
yourself, get your money up, hit the gym, and don't have sex. Wait until you get married. That's just
I
my
think that's
opinion. You can do what
ridiculous.
you can do
I
what you
looked it
want.
up. Jordan Sparks, Hilary Duff, Tia Tamara Mowry, Mariah Carey. So many people were virgins before they got married and had sex, and they're all divorced and onto their second or third marriage. I don't know if they had the funds, if they had every reason to be together with somebody and they still chose not to. I don't see how anybody out here is safe with no resources and no funds and no personality, no clout, no status, and it's like, oh, we'll wait to find out if we're actually compatible. That doesn't sound like a happy ending. Happy ending.
Hey, Andrew's on tonight with the euphemisms.
So they were virgins and then they got with the guy, but did they vet the guy properly? Because that matters too.
How can you vet a
That's
guy
why.
properly if you're a virgin? I don't understand this. From what experience?
And in addition,
Are you
also
are you
just
are
because
you just
this is the psych major in me coming out, it's like, how do you properly vet someone when there's such thing as manipulators? Like, you always see like women who, they end up in marriages where like the husband is abusive or like controlling or basically every toxic trait in the book, and they're like, well, she chose to marry this dude. It's like, well, chances are she didn't marry the abuser, she didn't marry the manipulator, she didn't marry the cheater, she married the guy he was pretending to be until he got her locked down and finally showed her who he really was, knowing she couldn't escape. There are some messed up people.
People in the chat are going wild, just so everybody knows on both sides. If you're not viewing all this, like, shout out to y'all.
They want to rage right now, Julius. I can tell. They want to just hop on and be like, Julius, what do you think about women being virgins? Are you a virgin yourself? And what kind of religion is this? What kind of culty sect is this? They're spazzing out right now.
No, I'm gonna open the chat in just a second, but I think it's interesting to me because they say, "Are you a virgin?" I addressed it. I'm practicing abstinence. I'm not a virgin. I'm actually a single dad. So that's why I said I know the pros and cons to the dating market for me. So what I say is not like because I'm a man, I deserve a virgin. I never made that claim and never will make that claim. I'm practicing abstinence because I think I made mistakes and I say, you know what, this isn't the way to be. And I think it's better for me to wait until marriage because that way I can actually vet the women that I'm with. Especially now that we're talking about this, it's like I get that people have dealt with manipulation and things like that. But this is why these conversations are important so that maybe moving forward, people can watch this and go, okay, now I know what to look for, when I'm dating somebody. So, look for ways for somebody to try to manipulate me and things like that. Like, and mind you, it's like when you get with somebody, you want to know, does this person believe in this? Do they believe in that? And challenge them on it too. If you can tell that they're BS, then don't get with them. So this is why conversations like this
How
are
can you tell
important.
someone's BS if you're a virgin? If I
Also-
was a virgin, I would think everyone's really kind to me because I'm a virgin. It'd be like, oh my god, this person's being so nice to me. He's wine and dining me. He's being so kind to me. Everyone's saying I should be with him, and I can't tell who's a red flag and who's a manipulator, who's a lover boy, who's all these things. You don't know. Like,
Can we tell all of that when
Well, Julius, just be aware, Neve in the audience is organizing a sex party at your house as the show goes on. People are saying they're in, so be careful, man. I know you don't want that.
I get completely
Degenerate.
what you're saying about like, all that stuff about like vetting and stuff, but do you suddenly have all the answers to the questions if somebody just puts it in you?
If you dated them, that's the whole point. That's again, if we're talking about people who are dating somebody. If I dated somebody and I've recognized these impulsive reactions out of them, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a red flag. Somebody who showboats all this and then gets into a relationship and then declines and then doesn't act this way anymore. I know that for the next person, I'm not going to marry them or get into a relationship with them. Now, hookup culture, I have an issue with hookup culture personally because I just think that you're only enjoying the parts that make you feel good, but you're not actually growing to understand that person as a whole. I just think that you're just limiting yourself from
I guess
self
part of the
improvement.
part of the way to know if like somebody has like good intentions or like they truly like are the one for you outside of like intimacy is knowing like how serious they are with you about like wanting to like see if they want to take that next step with you, I guess.
We should hit the next super chat because they addressed it actually.
Catholic churches allow annulments for marrying someone under false pretenses, even the church knows about manipulation.
Yeah, we
that's
talked
true.
about that because God knows like if I were to marry somebody and then something were to come out, it's like had I known this prior, I would have never married you and stuff. Like if I know he cheated on me, like if I found out like after we were married that he cheated on me like while we were like dating, like it's like had I known that, I would have never continued the relationship. I would have let alone never married him. So it's like we do know that lying is a sin.
Yeah, I'm gonna open the chat. I just gotta do it from my phone because if I type it in, Angela's gonna all her things gonna pop up like.
I can do it. I can do it if that helps.
Thanks.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I got it. Somebody said in the comments that my confidence is retreating, or whatever they said. It's not that at all. It's not that. I just know this topic, and maybe I have the worst execution. I'm trying to get better at that to execute my point. I understand that there are factors involved with wanting to wait until marriage. Angela, you're saying that how can you know if somebody's how can you know these certain things if somebody's a virgin? I think if you get to know the person before the sex, I think that's how you can know if you're able to detect it like that. If you get with somebody and you say this person's nice, this person believes in God, but if you challenge them, or that's why I think you got to find a way to challenge a person to see if they're really going to be with you. Like you want to protect yourself as much as possible. I think especially women should protect themselves as much as possible to know, is this guy right for me? And men the same way, is this woman right for me? So you want to kind of look for the green flags and the red flags. So
I personally think as a woman, a virgin is more in danger than a woman who has a body count of 1 or 2, because at that point, who's going to lie more to get into her pants? The one that has her virginity still. Everyone's going to do whatever it is to get the box from her. The one that has 1 or 2 body counts because she's been in a relationship for the past, I don't know, 5 years or something. Well, yeah, that's cool, but I'd rather take the one that's a virgin. It's like, oh, who do you want? 5'8" or 6'2"? I'll take 5'8", but if 6'2" comes, I'll take that too. That one's better than the 5'8". So I think being a virgin is great if you're in a community or in an area where everyone is religious or a virgin, cool. But bring that girl to the city, she's good as dead after the first 2 weeks of being in Miami. She wouldn't last there.
I'll take.
I used to live in Miami. I can attest to that.
Exactly.
I'll take.
So, yeah, if only lived in a perfect world.
Everyone's gonna be lying to that poor little virgin and be like, "We love you. You're the best thing, God's gift to earth. You don't have a daddy. I'll be your daddy. Don't worry. You need to make sure you're taken care of." They're gonna be lying to her, and they're gonna ruin that poor little girl. Which that's when a whore is born, because next thing you know, so many people lie to her, and she gets to be.
You heard the movie A Star Is Born? We should create our own film, A Whore Is Born.
Exactly.
But this is the reason why I think these conversations are important, because people don't know what to do, and then they come to this podcast and realize, wow, like even if let's say a situation,
you're glitching.
Julius robot man.
You're glitching, mate.
You're gonna have to repeat that, Julius.
Sweet case.
Plot twist: this is the Julius. This is the new AI.
Yes. Julius has been taken over by a robot. Julius, everything you were just saying glitched out. You're gonna have to repeat it, buddy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's just because my Wi-Fi keeps switching back and forth. I don't know what's going on. It's real quick to the comments. Not that I'm losing my confidence. It's just that I'm watching the Wi-Fi. I'm watching everything that's happening right now. And the Wi-Fi is just super annoying. It just keeps on cutting in and out, and I can't stand it.
I think your neighbor's stealing your Wi-Fi. You gotta watch it. That's what.
Yeah. Or the sex party showed up and everybody's like stealing your Wi-Fi.
I think your non-virgin neighbors are stealing your Wi-Fi. That's what it is.
For porn.
Well, when I watch you guys are moving like super slow. So that's why I'm just kind of like, what the heck is going on? So if I look a certain way, because I'm watching you guys like move like this, as if I'm high or something. I'm just like, what is happening?
Julius is having a flashback.
Yeah. I did put the link in the chat, but it didn't pop up for some reason. So Angela,
send it to Angela. Maybe Angela could send it, and then send that one to me, and I'll put it in the chat or something.
Oi,
well, can Can I just do it to yours, Angela? Just like post it and then just do
Yeah,
it to
bro,
yours.
do it.
'Cause-
Do you?
Yeah, it's being super weird.
While we have a second here, I just gotta say, I hope these two ladies are fan favorites. They're returning guests. They're definitely two of my favorites. You know, it's fun out here. It's light. It's enjoyable when we get them on the panel. So thank you, ladies.
You guys, I would have to say, if I were you, keep the panel to like 2 people coming on, because if you have too many people on, it's gonna be really fucking chaotic. Like it was
It's
the
like
other
one
night.
of those Andrew Tate debate videos.
Angela gets
Yeah.
it. She hosts these big discussions all the time.
I'm gonna be limiting my stuff for like only like 6 people because I can't stand when there's too many people on. That was crazy.
Real quick, Sandra, is it possible you can be on camera, or do you want to stick to be audio?
I kind of look like a hot mess right now, so I really don't want to be on camera. If that's okay.
Let's go.
It's
Okay,
part of the
fair
rule,
enough.
Sandra. I'm sorry, because it's for his podcast. That's why.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, look,
Alright.
I'll.
Hey,
Hey,
Yeah,
I
you're
look a
fine.
mess.
much more
Oh,
pleasant
fuck.
looking than I was expecting.
you look great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, hey, Rue,
You
what's
too,
up?
man. No homo. The other guy that joined.
Yo.
There was a super chat of mine that you didn't read out loud. And I was
Thanks for
gonna
bringing it
say
to our attention.
there's a reason.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what I see. I only see 4 super chats, and I read all of them. So wherever I didn't see
It's
it,
not anyone's fault. So to be honest, it's because all of our channels link together, but it's his podcast that he's hosting, but I just linked it to my stream. So you guys are probably like sending it through me and not through him, which I apologize. I probably should read it, but it's not my show, so I didn't want to interrupt and read it.
What was your message, Sandra? Do you remember? Like, if we don't have one.
Yeah, it's actually that one. There's a reason why the Catholic churches allow annulments up to the first year of being married unless the woman is pregnant. And I think that's because even the church understands that people are manipulative and that you can marry somebody under false pretenses. So the fact that an institution like the Catholic Church is allowing that sort of window, I think kind of says it all, you know. And also I wanted to touch basis on the height thing. I am 5'10". I've dated 3 men that are shorter than me.
Successfully? Did it go well? How was it?
I mean, it was more their insecurity than it was mine. I understand. Like, I'm 5'10". Like, that's the average height for the average man. So I know if I'm being honest with myself, if I'm being realistic with myself, like there's a 50-50 shot that I could like end up with somebody shorter than me. So that's something that just kind of never really bothered me. You know, so it was more of their own insecurity that really got in the way of it.
First of all, I did read your comment because Nick was the one who called it out, and I read the comment afterwards. So I did read your comment.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Maybe she missed that for the member. What's this other gentleman's name? Rue. Thanks for joining me.
What's going on, Nick?
Yeah. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys for being on the show. I appreciate you guys for coming on. Was there something that you guys agree with, disagree with, anything in particular?
Well, there was this video I just watched today, and I forgot the name of it, but I should probably post in the Discord. So it's pretty much this guy going at the beach, and I think it was not in Miami. No, it was in one of the beaches in Miami, in Florida, and it looked like a rural part. And he was asking these ladies, do you prefer tall and skinny or short and muscular? And it was typically a 50-50. It wasn't really like an all-around basis of like, you know, majority of tall and skinny or majority of short and muscular. Each of them had their own preferences, but they both know those types of ladies. They know where they're coming from and what standards they had. Or some that just didn't care. They'll take, you know, whatever the best looking guy they'll get, regardless.
I had a
so it's
poll
not
on
one size
Twitter.
fits all, is what I'm getting from that.
Huh?
Yeah, I had a poll on Twitter. It's not much, but this is what it was. I posted like a few hours ago. I said when it comes to this is on my phone too. So I said when it comes to dating, do women prefer tall men? And out of 43 votes, again, it's not a lot, but I'm just telling you guys what it is. Out of 43 votes, 79% said yes, 0% said no, and 21% said it doesn't matter. And then
What was the question again?
When it comes to dating, do women prefer tall men? And out of 43 votes, 79% said yes, 21% said doesn't matter, 0% said no. And I said, if yes, then why? And one person's answer was because the height is attractive and we don't want short sons. That was one answer. Another response was, "I'll be the PITA who splits hairs. Dating is often a self-indulgent way to kill time. If the only concern is a fleeting sense of pleasure, then yes, we prefer tall men. Courtship leading to marriage often has a different set of criteria, none of which are his height." And then one person posted a meme and said, "Shrek is proof women would rather date an ugly ogre instead of a short dude." So,
I think if it's a preference, it's like asking a man, would you want to date? Is it a preference to have an in-shape woman? Obviously, like ideally, yeah, if I could add that on to the mix. But what Angela and Megan were saying before is it's not a deal breaker. It's kind of a perk if he's checking off other categories already that are more
yeah,
important.
and real quick, I'm sorry. I know I'm trying not to read comments as much. I'm not allowed to read comments, but irrelevant, not a legit survey. Well, I kind of made that point. I said it's not much. I'm just saying this is what I asked. So it's not much, but I just asked the question just to see what people would think. I just found it interesting. Even though it's 43 votes, majority of them said tall. I just found that it's not like the survey of America. It's not like the end all be all. I just found it interesting that those 43 people, 79% of them said yes. I just thought that was interesting. That's all.
I
Don't
think
worry
that when
about
we
them. They're
take these
feisty
type of
tonight.
surveys, they're very like tricky. Like if I went to a divorce attorney and asked like how many people are getting divorced in the world, it's going to be a ridiculous number because they're a divorce attorney. So it's just like when we take these type of like stats, it's like who's the audience? Like we ask like where the audience is at, who they are, how old they are. I think it changes a lot, and how many people and all that good stuff. So
Stop doing these street surveys on the streets of LA. Try Kentucky or something.
Stop
I just wanted,
criticizing the guys running the show until you have your own. Just kidding.
I
Julius,
I
don't you mind, bro? I like your little surveys and everything you're doing, bud.
Nah, dude, you don't gotta cuck. No,
I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it.
I'm just
I think
kidding.
it's content for days.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
So I just wanted to say, as a woman who I'm almost 6 feet myself, I'm 5'10". For me, a bigger marker in terms of genetics when I'm looking at a partner is more of how in shape you are. Like I like to eat, but I still go to the gym. I still try to take care of myself. And to be honest, like you can be shorter than me, but just because you're a man and you're shorter than me, that doesn't mean that you're not stronger than me. That doesn't mean that you're not still capable of being able to protect me. That doesn't mean that you're not still capable of being able to be extremely masculine just because you're shorter than me.
Well,
You know?
Nick,
Oh,
yeah,
it
Nick,
leads
I
down
want
to
to.
compromise. It leads down to compromise and accommodate.
I mean, height's just not, I don't know. Height's never really been that big of a like the shortest guy that I've ever dated has been 5'6" and I'm 5'10". Like but I mean, they all were in kind of decent amount of shape. Now I've had to take care of a terminally ill parent, and I know how not fun that is to take care of somebody who is terminally ill. And I think like when you get married, there's a big difference between, oh my God, got cancer versus, oh my God, you're now losing toes because of diabetes, because of your own poor choices. I think that's a bigger marker in attraction than height is, if I'm being completely honest. Height's something you don't really have control over, but how well you take care of your body kind of is. And it also says something about you as a man. I also wanted to point out that success is a byproduct of attractive traits. So if you're motivated and you're disciplined and you care about yourself and you have a sense of purpose, success is going to be a byproduct of having those traits. So it's not even necessarily like Jordan Peterson actually quoted a study. I forgot who it was done by. It's on one of his interviews, but there was a marker of women were looking at the usefulness. Like they took a poll of women who were looking at somebody who had wealth versus who had wealth and who was useful versus somebody who was broke and not useful versus somebody who was broke and useful. And what they found was that women actually prefer the usefulness and your ability to attain those resources more than the actual wealth itself, because wealth can disappear in a snap. Like, think about it. If we had like a solar flare, an electromagnetic pulse, where all of a sudden all the power was killed and we didn't have running water or anything like that, your money's worthless. Your wealth is worthless. You know, forget a man that can buy you a house. I want a man that can build me a house.
I think that's a good point. It's ingenuity, it's resourcefulness, it's desire to want to get something done and actually achieve things. Yeah.
And
More
money's
so
just
than
a
it's the actual-
measurement. It's more of a measurement, like a measurement scale of that.
It's more of a tool.
Well, no, because I mean, think about it. If like money only has value because we give it value.
I mean,
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. It's more about being able to attain it.
They own it.
Go ahead, Rue.
I'm saying the feds own the currency, so of course they deem the value. That's the value we only have, and all we have to use to buy and get things what we want. Otherwise, without that, then you really have to look at a different way of how am I going to get that without if money never existed. It will have to trade.
Yeah, with that
value for something more.
Yeah, with that, we're going off to a whole different conversation about like Fed money, all that weird stuff. I get what you're saying, Sandra, about, you know, the wealth can disappear. You got to have these other resources. But you said earlier that you dated 3 guys who were shorter than you, and you said that they had insecurities upon dating you. Did you break up with them, or did they break up with you?
So kind of like a mix, actually. So 2 of them I broke up with. 1 of them broke up with me.
Okay, so the other 2 that you broke up with them?
Yeah.
Why did you break up with them?
Have you guys ever encountered like an insecure man before?
Well, I'm just trying to kind of get like a direct answer. Like, why did you break up with them? Like, what was the breaking point for you to break up with them?
Like just the lack of confidence, like insecurity, like feeling the need to have to go through my phone, which I mean, there was nothing really any incriminating right there, but like feeling like you need to go through my phone, wanting me to hang out at your job because you want to keep your eyes on me all the time because you don't know where I'm at, you know, and like just weird, kind of like really weird stuff. Constantly saying, "Oh, are you happy with me?" It was just like the insecurity aspect. Just ugh.
So the controlling weakness.
Kind of, and it's like the insecurity is what stemmed the controlling behavior. It's kind of funny. The 2 kind of sort of go hand in hand. And what I was saying before about like hypergamy, how men need hypergamy just as much as women do. I do believe you guys can look up the statistic, but correct me if I'm wrong. If a woman is out earning her man, doesn't her chances of having to deal with domestic violence go up by 35%? And I believe the reason for that is because it stems an insecurity in the man where now he's watching his girl being around much more successful men. So now he has to inflict almost like a cost benefit analysis. Like if you leave me, there's going to be a cost to it. So that's I think would be the psychology behind domestic violence going up.
Well, yeah, it's the fear of hypergamy, because if you're not doing anything to increase your money, or if that's the limit you hit, then you're gonna have to address that too, or just let her be. And
so then doesn't that mean that men need hypergamy just as much as women do?
Very quickly, I want to explain to the layman in the audience what hypergamy is, because a lot of people hear this term thrown around, but I don't think you're familiar with. Basically, hypergamy dictates it's a well-understood psychological phenomenon that women date equal to and above their socioeconomic status, men mate equal to and below, typically. That's more or less it as I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But go on.
Oh, well, that was just what I was saying about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think anybody condones domestic violence and insecure men, but I'm
MLD.
asking.
Endure. It's not the 50s anymore, Angela. Jeez.
Sorry.
Also, the reason why women tend to want careers because they don't want to be in a vulnerable position.
Wait, is women having a career a bad thing? Is everyone against this?
Not a bad thing.
Mm-mm.
No,
I don't know.
The men are quiet here. I'm curious.
Again, a full circle. According to Jordan Peterson, And his clinical experience as a psychologist for Fortune 500 CEOs, when they were going through hardships, they would see him. He said far and away in his clinical experience, women that reach about 40, 50, 55 years old, when they're at the top of the corporate ladder and they have nowhere else to go, like in the business sector, they suddenly become incredibly depressed. He called it the women's midlife crisis almost, because they thought they'd have more time to establish a husband, a family, and all these things. But now they realize I'm going to be miserable and successful alone.
Well, a lot of it isn't really because like they want to like work. I mean, obviously, like some women do feel accomplished, like making something of themselves. But a lot of the times, like some women just don't want to be like in a situation where like they find out their spouse is like cheating or abusive, and it's like they want to leave, but because like their financial status and, you know, the dependency on the man, they can't really leave that situation. And then people ask like, why couldn't they leave sooner? Especially if you have children too. So like a lot of women getting into careers, part of the reason is because of like some men turning abusive, turning into like, you know, cheaters and stuff. And they don't want to be in that vulnerable position where they can't leave, even if they wanted to.
And I wanted to touch basis on that point. Joe Rogan was quoted saying this. He said feminism was a direct symptom that stems from a man's failure to protect women. Joe Rogan said that himself, so which I kind of agree. Like, I mean, if everything was all peachy keen in the 50s, or even, you know, before women got the right to vote, like why would you fight for the right to vote? If everything was all peachy keen in the 1950s, why would you fight for the Fair Credit Act? Why would you fight to be able to open up a bank account by yourself while you're married and have your man's name attached to that?
But I want to welcome the new guests too. Thank you, new guests, for joining. I can't see your name. I'm sorry.
It's
Moxie. Oh, cool. What's up, Moxie?
Hey,
the
Moxie.
sex orgy, the host at Julius's house. All right.
The what?
Can you guys hear me?
It was Moxie. She's going to be throwing a sex orgy at your house.
Awesome. Happy Sunday. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
What did you ask me?
Nothing in particular. Go ahead, Julius.
No, I'm totally lost. I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, okay. Because he said, Moxie, whatever, house something at your house. I don't know. I didn't hear you.
Making it apparent that you were the one that was throwing the orgy at Julius's house later. So he knew that.
I wasn't. Actually, that was Neve.
That was Neve.
Oh, did I confuse some of the people in the chat? I'm so
In your
sorry.
wildest dreams,
That was Neve. My bad.
I love Neve. Neve is awesome.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. I mean, I'm glad I asked because I wanted to straighten that out.
My bad.
So Moxie, was there anything that you wanted to discuss that you agree or disagree with in particular?
So just FYI, I'm married. Okay. I just celebrated my 3rd year wedding anniversary with my husband. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, no, just I think that people just need to be a little more open-minded when they're looking for a mate. I spoke about this with Sandra and Angela, just, how important it is just to focus on what your negotiables are and what your non-negotiables are. Because look, at the end of the day, we're not going to get everything we want. And at the end of the day, sometimes those things that we want aren't even what we want. Like sometimes it's like what we think we want and we don't understand what that entails. So for instance, like let's say maybe a woman wants a super rich dude, like a millionaire, right? Like, hey, your net worth needs to be $1 million, like I need $1 million. Like, come on, it happens all the time. Or a man needs that 10, that perfect 10, that supermodel, right? But what does that entail? What comes with that? So, yeah, that's important. And just like being open-minded. And the height thing, I think is totally ridiculous. It's so shallow. Like, okay, don't be with, like, you don't have to be with like a little person or a dwarf, what I don't want to call them, the M word, or so to speak, like, I don't want to call them the derogatory M word. But look, it's like you don't need to be with somebody that's 6 foot or 6'2". Maybe there's other things that are more important. Like, for instance, you want somebody that stimulates you intellectually, that you get along with, that makes you laugh. at the end of the day, we have to grow old together. So you want to make sure that you're getting along. Like my mom, you know, I'll be completely real with you guys, since you guys were talking about virgins. My mom was a virgin when she married my dad, and they ended up getting divorced after 14 years. So, you know, my parents got divorced when I was 8. So, you know, you want to make sure that you get along with somebody. And I got married later in life, right? Like I'm not anywhere near my 20s, right? But I'm happy with my husband. We get along, we understand each other, and we have a symbiotic relationship. What he has, I don't have. And I think that, you know, you have to look at marriage as a business as well, because there is a contract involved. Like, you know, that's your partner right there. You know what I mean? Unless if you want to protect your ass, so to speak, get a prenup. But I didn't. My husband and I didn't feel like we needed to get one, and he's an attorney. So, you know, just saying. Open your.
Anyways, if you try to make a contract with them. No, I'm just kidding.
What did you say? And why do you keep on saying shit?
Over here. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to keep it light. Don't mind me.
Yeah, I didn't even hear you.
I said that you'd be screwed anyways if you tried to make a contract with him, like a prenup, because he's an attorney.
That's why she would hire her own lawyer.
I'm in commercial real estate, and I know how to negotiate contracts. And yeah, you're damn right. I would have my own lawyer. Yeah.
Judge Judy, Judge Maybelline.
Still beautiful, Monty. You're beautiful.
Good thing you didn't have to do that.
You're beautiful. What?
I said, good thing you didn't have to do the prenup, Ralph. Yeah.
Look, so it's not that it's not like it's not a good idea completely. That's not what I said. It just, I didn't want to deal with it. Like if somebody's making like $1 million a year and they don't trust their spouse, the way I see it, they probably shouldn't be getting married. But hey, sometimes what you're making is so, you know, that gap is so astronomical that it's like the person will never you will never see them like that. Like one of my homegirls is married an investment banker. He makes so much more money than she does, and that's what he demanded, and she was okay with that. So it's like everybody has their own thing. Is my point.
How tall is your dude, your husband?
How tall are you?
Yeah, let's start there.
Well, no, I've already said I'm not tall, but I'll just ask. I'm not trying to do
Hold on a second. How tall is not a height. You just asked me how tall my husband is.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about how tall you are?
He did already on the show.
Yeah, I already did.
But I didn't hear it. Well?
Yeah, I said that I'm not tall. So.
Okay, but what's your height?
But why does that matter? I mean, he's just asking an innocent question.
Yeah, I was asking a question.
Because he just asked her how tall her husband is. So why does he expect a direct answer from her when he's not willing to give a direct answer?
Hold on. Hold on. First and foremost, this is our platform, and we're just asking questions just to try to have a conversation. If it's triggering for you, you can just say, hey, I don't answer.
It's not triggering. I asked you a question and you didn't answer. I think it's triggering for you.
No, because he's the host.
It's not. It's not. I've already said I'm not tall. I said it earlier in the conversation that I'm not tall.
So why are you holding her to a different standard that you're not holding yourself to?
He's already gone through this in the show. Let him host, please.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's a simple question.
Exactly.
But she's avoiding my question, so I'm only asking.
But you're avoiding mine, darling, because why are you concerned with what my husband's height is? Why don't you ask me what my height is? And if height is so important, why aren't you willing to answer the question as to what your height is?
Maybe he was going to ask how tall you are, and that's the. Are
you his lawyer? Because if you're his lawyer, I want his money back.
That's the topic, ladies. If you can't go along with it, just let us know, and then we'll ask another question or another guest. But that's the topic of the show.
You're missing the whole point here.
I'm not missing any point. You're trying to get him to answer a question he already went into at the very beginning.
No, like the thing of it is I've already disclosed my height. I am 5'10". She asked a simple question. As a man, you know, men lead, women follow, right? So why are you yourself not willing to answer a specific question the way you wanted her to answer a specific question?
He's the
I have dated
host.
men. I have dated men. So just because you're a host, that means that you can hold
We
other people
already
to a
answered it,
different.
but now we'd be going
I
over
was
the
not
same
done
guys.
talking.
Now we're wasting time. But you
I
guys
wasn't
you
finished
host the show.
talking.
Go ahead.
I wasn't finished talking, babe.
I don't care.
And
We're
you keep
hosts. I gotta
interrupting
keep
me.
you on the rails.
Well, I know, but we're having this discussion right now. Just because you're hosting, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't hold other people to the same standard that you hold yourself to, right?
Man,
Like
she
we're
got
all supposed
defensive,
to
and he
hold
came for
ourselves
her
to the
aid
same.
because he asked about her husband's height, which is the topic of the show. He already answered
But
that already. Now we'd be going over the same topic twice,
what's
covering
up,
the
Great
same ground
Pill?
that we already covered for everybody who might be watching the show,
So
start to finish. We don't want to go through it twice.
so question, why is it that you're the host and you have to keep us on the rails of the topic of discussion when it's okay for him to ask her what her husband's height is, but when we're flipping the question and asking him what his height is, why all of a sudden is that derailing off of the topic of discussion?
He
I'm not
already
understanding
answered
that.
that. He's already addressed that at the very beginning of
So
the
then it
show.
should be no big deal to address it again.
Maybe it wouldn't have been, but it's your latest attitude that I'm reacting to, frankly.
What's our attitude?
Less than gracious for being on a show as a guest.
How am I being less than gracious?
Okay,
just
okay.
fat
Let's
talking.
just say, guys, like, let's just chill. Okay, Sandra, everybody. To be fair, it is their show. Okay, true. I'm just gonna go ahead and clarify, guys. Just because I am broadcasting this on my channel, this is not my show. I said it in the beginning. This is their podcast. So it's like when you date a guy who wants to be a pimp. If you want to be with the pimp, you follow his preference and his rules. If they don't want to answer your question, the reality is I understand. Why isn't he holding the same standards? I get it. He doesn't have to. And if we hop on his channel, and technicality is their show, we have to follow their rules and their standards or whatever. And you know, everybody is coming on a bit hostile, and maybe everybody doesn't know everyone because I know you guys, and you guys are not like that with me. Let's just say this is a huge miscommunication is all I'm going to say. So that's it.
I'm just sewing ears right now.
I want to address this comment that he said that dude's so entitled. I've actually been quiet this entire time, so I don't know what you're talking about being entitled. I didn't even say anything. I just been quiet because people don't realize Angela is broadcasting this on her YouTube channel, her Facebook, and her Twitch. But this is our YouTube channel called The Age of Men. If you look in the corner, you look in the left, right hand corner, wherever that it's at, you see the Age of Men podcast logo. So this is the Age of Men podcast, and this is what it is. We're talking about height, and I was listening to Moxie talking about, you know, height doesn't matter, you know, symbiotic relationship. I'm listening to her, and I was just asking. I said, "How tall is your man?" I was just wanting to know how tall is her man. If she would have said, "Oh, no, my man's only 5'7," I would have said, "Oh, okay, interesting." You know, like, why did that not matter to you? I would have just gone in and had a conversation. I'm not, you know, trying to do a gotcha. We're talking about height, so I'm trying to stick to the subject so that we don't derail on other things. So I'm not, you know, entitled. It's just people are just like, well, why don't you answer her question? Because I asked her first. Like I asked her a question first, and then you're avoiding it, being like, oh, you should answer my question. Then how tall are you, Mister? It's like that's irrelevant. I'm not trying to play a gotcha game and trying to make you look stupid. I'm not fresh and fit trying to, you know, do a gotcha. I'm just having the conversation. That's all it is. So but yeah, I don't know. I mean, people can talk crap all they want in the comments. It is what it is, but this is our podcast, and so we're just trying to have a conversation. If you don't like it, you could just say, "Oh, I refuse to answer." I'll say, "Okay, cool. Let's move on to something else." So,
And for
great.
anyone out there that says that he's insecure, like at the end of the day, it doesn't affect me if he wants to answer his height or not. I don't see why it should affect anyone's. I get it. Why did he ask her? And if anyone thinks I'm picking sides here, go get Grox because you already know I don't give a shit. And I call out Julius all the time of things I don't agree with. At the end of the day, it's his show. I don't agree with a lot of his talking points, but I'm not here to pick petty fights with him. I am here to disagree on certain things. But yeah, that's just the name of the game. So that's all I'm going to say.
Well, I mean, it's
yeah,
fair.
and
I'm sorry, Julius. It's fair. I mean, you can't answer a question with a question, right? So,
thank you.
Yeah, and then real quick, I want to say shout out to Great Pill. Appreciate you having you coming on. Yeah, I mentioned earlier when we was talking, I said I'm not tall, so that's why I said earlier when it comes to the dating market for me, I know the pros and cons, and I said I'm not tall. Like, do you have to know my specific height? I am not tall. Like, what does that mean? If you want to know my specific height, I don't mind saying it, but when I said I am not tall, how was I insecure if I'm already saying I'm not tall? So I get
But to be
the pros
fair,
and
when
cons.
when you said that I'm not tall and they wanted to know a specific height, I could see why they're like, why can you just say number? Let's just hypothetically say, let's say you
Oh,
were not,
that's
let's just
fine.
say you were not like secure with it. I don't think that society should pressure you to answer it. If nobody wants to answer the question, her end or your
Oh,
end, we say, oh,
it's all
I'm not
good though.
comfortable with it. Yeah, I just kind
Yeah,
of wish
no,
that
it's all
somebody
good.
would have just said that and just called it out a day. So that's it.
No, it's all good. Listen, I'm 5'6". I got no problem with saying my height. I'm not tall. So I'm 5'6". I'm not tall. So that's why I mentioned earlier the fact that I'm not tall. Therefore, I know the pros and cons of the dating market for me. I got no problem mentioning it. It's just that when I asked her the question, she took it some type of way. I just said, "Hey, how tall is your husband?" Well, how tall are you? It's like,
Well, hey,
listen,
we
you're
got Gray
triggered
Pill
by
on here.
that.
Let's take it back on the direction of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let's,
yeah. Listen, I'm sorry it got like that, but I
no,
don't know.
bro, it's all
People can
good.
say what they
Everybody
want. Yeah,
misunderstanding.
no, no. But people in the comments are saying one thing. I'm just like, I just asked a question, but I guess questions are not allowed. I don't know. Anyways, we'll move on. Gray Pill, how you doing, man? What's your thoughts? Anything you agree with or disagree with particular?
How's everybody doing? God bless. Happy Sunday.
All is well, sir.
Um, I don't know the other ones. I know if everybody's religious or not religious. So shout out to you guys. No, I don't know the type of question. I was gonna ask the question, what you were saying. So was there gonna be a follow-up question when you did ask the person their husband's height?
Yeah, yeah. As I said a few seconds ago, when I was gonna, she would have said my husband's like 5'7" or whatever height he is. I would have said, "Oh, what made you, like, why did you choose a tall guy or why did you choose a short guy? Like, why didn't it matter to you?" Like, I just want to kind of talk about that because I'm just asking questions. She said that height doesn't matter, yada yada yada. I just wanted to know how tall is your dude. If your dude's 6 foot, I'm curious to know, like, why did she, what made her attracted to that, to him specifically?
Okay,
What
we're
was it
good.
the
I'll
height?
just I was just seeing if there's gonna be a follow-up question. So I'm not gonna beat that dead horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here for the beginning for the I guess I felt like it was a heightism topic. So, and the question was like, about the height. I guess it's more like what the height of the man and what the attraction from the woman to the man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the women's preference and height. What do they prefer?
How important is it to women for a man to be tall? Basically.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I think it's a preference, but at the same time, somebody might say that I'm being biased because I'm like 6'2". But I got a buddy. I mean, I can use them as references, but it'll be anecdotal. I got a homeboy that's like 5'6", 5'8", 5'9", and he get chicks like look like they dime pieces. He travels a little bit, so not saying he like flex be a little cocky, but I see the chicks. Now I don't know if how their personality, but if we're just talking about looks, that's what he generally attracts. Another guy's a content creator. He's over here. He looked like, kind of brolic looking, but we kind of pick at him a lot of times on the platform because of his height, but realistically, he dates a lot of very attractive women, but he dates more of the social class women, because his standards a little bit higher. So that's what he drawn into and who he dates. So I don't really think height really does matter because let's say, for example, if a person was 4 feet tall, but he got good, like a lot of women say, oh, if he can make me laugh, that's like a good indicator right there, like the attraction. Hey, if he can, say something, kind of get inserted with the conversation, or just how he carry himself, in public, around dinner, around family, stuff like that. And I'm pretty much big on checking on the boxes because I pretty much poke the bear at women like, hey, if I'm making 30, 40K, but I'm checking on your boxes, would you take me? And they're like, sure. Okay, let's go. So I think it's a preference thing. I mean, initially they might think about it because it's the attraction, but a lot of women are like, okay, yeah, what's the long scale goal here? So they really just throw it out the window.
Okay. Do you you said you're 6'2"?
Yeah.
Do you prefer tall women or short women, or does it matter to you?
No, I've been saying it for a long time. I'm an equal opportunity employer. My resume's out for everybody. Thick, tall, cute, short, thick, thin, cute. The last chick I dated, the serious relationship I dated, she was surprisingly, she was a Mexican that's like literally almost my height, tall and thick. But when people saw her, they just thought that she was like, I guess Indian. But yeah, if it helps, she was a LA girl, but that was her mindset. Yeah, angry. Yeah,
that helps. That helps. Fills in the picture. That helps me picture that paints the picture a little better. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, you're about 6'2", 6'3", yeah.
6'4"-ish, yeah, maybe 6'3".
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a preference for you as well? Like, do you prefer a certain height, or does it not matter to you as well?
It doesn't matter to me at all. I don't discriminate. All types of sizes. There's not really any women that have ever been as tall or taller than me, so I guess it's not as much of a thought in my mind as maybe for other people. But
yeah, but we could be biased though, because a fitness friend of mine, like in my DM, she asked me like, "How tall are you?" And I told her, and her instant response was like, "Nice." So those, we might get some positive responses from people because we're tall, but that's only just like one marker of who we are. It could be, hey, like for example, I'll use Ruse for example. If me and Ruse go to, like my homeboy Ruse, let's say if we go to a certain country, they might predominantly generally favor him just by his race. You know what I'm saying? Versus where I go, they might favor just me for my race. Depends on where you go. I think the attraction status goes up and down.
I don't know, Greg. I
Okay.
think,
If I take you to Africa, they're going for you, they're going for me. If I take you to Japan, they're going for you, they're going for me.
nope, they're going for you. I best believe it.
they'll be
Japan?
welcome if they're coming for you at this point, because they're always coming for us, bro.
Hold on. Hear me out, because I've done the strategy in the past, because it's up to their parents to decide. It's not just up to them. It's culturally too, because usually most stay within their own race. White with
Correct.
white, black with black, brown with brown, yellow with yellow.
Correct.
And I'm in that 20% that I don't have a big interest in my race. I dated and grew up around women of all different races, regardless of where they're coming from. I'm used to those. I'm more of a mixed race preference type for myself, because I've dated mixed race women.
Facts. I don't know. I think I'm still I agree with it. Well, I don't want to pivot on that, but yeah, I'll concede to that because we're still keeping on the height. So
okay. Troy, appreciate you having on. Troy, if you don't mind, would you mind having your camera on? If you don't mind, I know Megan has her camera off, but she's been on camera the entire time. If you can hear me, Troy, would you mind having your camera on? If you can hear me. Hey, buddy, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up, brother? Sorry, man. Just I don't have the best backlighting. I don't have any makeup on, so I'm a little turf right now. Forgive me, folks.
You want makeup on?
No, he was just joking. No, listen. For those of you guys who don't know, Troy's my homie. We grew up together. He's basically like my brother. So I know he's just being facetious. So what's up, man? Appreciate you having you on. What is something from what you caught, I guess, so far? What's something that you agree with, disagree with, anything in particular?
Well, man, I don't want to sound redundant to you, Julius, because there's quite a bit of. Actually, first of all, can I give a shout out to Miss Angela Knight? This might be old news. I'm a bit of a fan of yours after you went on that roast of the year of what's his name, MLB, a couple months ago. God damn, I feel like I needed a therapy session after that. That was deep. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I did a lot of crazy shit in the past year. Which one are we referring to? Is it the recently? The most recent one?
I don't know if it was recent. It was a few. Yeah, it was MLD. A few months back. And,
yeah. Okay. Well, yes. Hi. I don't want to derail his show here. Julius.
No worries. Just a quick shout out. Thank you. Appreciated that. That was dope. A lot of humility and hilarity in that. I don't know. I'm very on the side of, you know, anti-establishment and establishment when it comes to, you know, certain roles, whatever the roles may be. I'm up to conversations, being able to make decisions based on what's the better outcome for both sides of the party. I'm really just intrigued by conversations between men and women, whether or not we agree or disagree. But I do feel like that there's an issue when one side feels as though they're not being heard because the other side is either speaking over that person, they're not letting them actually complete what they're trying to say in the hey bro in the midst of what the topic is. And I think it gets convoluted overall when we're not hearing each other. So I'm not quite sure what topic you guys are on at this point. I think originally the topic was about, do women find more of an attraction of taller men? I don't know if I'm the type of person to answer that question. I personally think it is kind of what Gray Pill had mentioned. It really just depends on the swagger of the individual. I've met brothers that are 5'4" that's killing it right now. You know, and then I've met guys who are 6'1", 6'2", not really doing it. So if
like Big Pun.
Well, and Notorious B.I.G. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of big brothers out there that was getting it, and some that weren't, and some weren't getting it because there wasn't any type of clout or any type of result of or because of, you know, they weren't hitting as hard as other people were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I just feel like that there's a fine line between, you know, the what's right, what's wrong. But I do believe that there's a gray area, and, you know, conversations can happen, to kind of verify what's being said.
Shout out to the Great Pill Podcast.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Hey, man, it's game.
Also, I think I came on right when Angela was challenging some of the things that Julius was mentioning about the sacredity of virginity. And yeah, I really, sorry, Julius, I'm leaning towards Angela on this because it's your take on it. I just feel like, and we've had these conversations before, is just very anecdotal. There's not a whole lot of facts that are backing up your point of view about how we should stay virgins before marriage. When Angela brought up all of these examples, I think those are perfect examples.
That's part of the conversation. I missed that.
Oh yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I'm going back. Yeah, we're going back.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that is always going to be a hot topic. I feel like, especially in the modern day market. I feel like I'm kind of out of the loop because I'm married. I have a couple kids, but I was a virgin before, or I wasn't a virgin before marriage. I'd been around the block, and to be perfectly honest, I had zero interest in, at the age that I'm at now. I recently got married. I didn't really have much of an interest in dating someone that was a virgin. I'm gonna be 38 this year. To me, it'd be kind of weird if I had to wait, or if I had to search for a virgin before I got married. And I'm spiritual, but I'm not a very religious person. Julius and I have had this conversation before, so
yeah, that's me. And just to add, first of all, congratulations on that, because I don't want to say congratulations, but it's funny, on the podcast that I knew, his like I said, everybody mindset a little bit differently. Like he's in college, he had goals, and he was in a relationship. You know, everybody was joking around, called like little red pill rage, but the girl pretty much just cheated on him. You know, he went through it for like 3 months, and then, but he still stayed on his focus. Like, hey, I'm still going to school. I still got my goals. And then him and another female, and which happened to be older than him, you know, very attractive. But they had like real conversation, like this is what we want to do, this is where our goal set at, and it was long just for a minute. And I think like a year later, engaged, got married, and they've just been looking good ever since. So it is pretty much where everybody stands on that, on equal footing on that. And you kind of remind me of homeboy I knew in high school, but he was younger. He was just like that kind of cool kid. He was still in his books, but you'll catch him once in the blue. He just like do a backflip from out of nowhere, or he'll just like, you know, do like some other stuff. He was into like almost every activity, had like that one consistent girlfriend, but if they broke up, you would just never know. You just never know. So
Yeah,
I
some
don't know,
people
it
can
just
kind of. I feel like people's their status and let me know if I'm kind of going off track of what you're talking about, but I just feel like that there's certain people, their vibes are steady no matter who they're with in any relationship. That's the thing. Like I've met a lot of people, you wouldn't even know if they were a relationship because they didn't give off any energy that felt like it was out of codependency. Like I didn't get. I've had a slew of relationships where they just didn't work. And I feel like that part of the reason why it didn't work is because I didn't have my own personal fulfillment yet. Meaning I had to be good with myself.
correct.
You know, it's good to have someone that makes you better than you already are, but you got to be good on the inside and on the outside. You can be more than just the looks.
Yeah, and
You
which
know,
is, that's what's, even with the and I don't want to take anything away from the topic because when I was younger, that conversation maybe crossed my mind, but I just took it as like, okay, this is something, a factor of life, whether 5'4", 5'8", 6'2", whatever, I still got to live life regardless. Because there's gonna be some women that gonna look at you, think you're attractive, not attractive. Like I was trying to get the comparison, man, rules, right? But at the same time, hey, if we hang out to some a place together, he might be more charismatic, but I'm 6'4", you know, but it doesn't matter, you know, or we go to another place and they might like me more, and I don't even say nothing, but they're just drawn to me just because of attraction. So you win. It's literally like us guys, we pretty much just the ones that actually understand this. It's a win or lose. We can take the L, somebody some process it, some can't, and they just leave home without it. For other men, just like, yo, if you going out 6'2", 6'4" guys, we going to a certain place, just understand, like, don't go there like, yo, my mind is going to be on the P, my mind's going to be on, you know, just getting a girl. It just automatically just take the loss regardless when your mind go there. But also understand, like, hey, I'm going to just enjoy myself. I'm hanging out at Rules, we're going for drinks. Now, if a chick pops up and I get the number, that's a bonus. If the chick like, hey, whisper my ear, we have some kind of conversation like, hey, Rules, you mind, bro? Because I know we hanging out. Rules like, yo, go handle your business. Hey, that's an A+. You see what I'm saying? That's it.
Did Troy drop out? What happened? His phone died.
I think he probably
he just dropped a
disconnected.
second ago.
Yeah, he probably disconnected.
Hey, my bad, y'all.
I'm bringing it back on.
I'm done if anybody want to add anything.
We are gonna have to end the show in about 15 minutes. Anybody have any?
I was just gonna add too, just kind of to go off of what Grey Pill was saying too. You know, not to come off as arrogant, but there is a vibe that I've had before in the past, where I can walk into a room and women can recognize me, but unless I had something to add to it, that's where it stops. You know, I believe in it. I believe, Angela, I saw your finger go up. Please add on. But I do believe that women can see the visual, but unless you can add something else to it, I don't see them really giving a fuck at that point.
I had something to add on about Julius. Actually, I have a question for you. Sorry, I agree with Troy also. But Julius, you say that when you do street interviews, you don't often come across people that give you issues or problem, because I'm assuming that you are pretty self-aware and you have pretty good engagement with people and, you know, all these good stuff. So if you're going to pose a question to people and they don't answer the question the way you like them to, is that how you usually handle the situation? I was just curious, because I'm not saying you're right, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm not saying any people are, but some people have their own insecurities or PTSD, or maybe they're just like on edge with maybe the surrounding. And if you engage with them on like this blueprint of how things should be and they react a certain way, do you think that your reaction, for example, not answering the question, escalates the the way people are?
No, because when I do street interviews, I really just go out there and ask questions, and sometimes I'll challenge it. I'll ask a follow up, but no one's ever like asked me a question. And if they did, I mean, I would answer it. But I think in this particular situation, it was just different because we're on the topic of height. And so when I was listening to Moxie talk about, it doesn't matter, yada yada, I was just asking her, hey, how tall is your husband? 'Cause I just was curious to know, like, did she choose somebody, was height a factor? That's where I was kind of getting at. Was height a factor for her? I know people have their opinions about what doesn't matter, but for their own personal, idealistically mate, I was just kind of curious about that. That's why I was just asking. I was trying to ask her to
No,
like,
I know where
yeah.
you're coming from, but as a person who's like hosting or person who's like interviewing people, don't you think that maybe people would have their own personal feelings or agendas and like prerogative when they're talking to you, that within itself could always like escalate? So let's say like you two were both virgins interacting with each other for the first time, and y'all are like, you know what, I don't like you, I don't like you either. There you go. There was already a divorce before the marriage even started.
Shout out to the virgins. Shout out to the virgins out there.
That was just why I was asking, because I was like, because that went like far, and I kind of saw it coming too, because I know Moxie's Dominican and feisty as shit, and you're very like stoic and like very straight.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to me, regardless of how she felt, I'm sorry she felt that way, but I didn't see I don't think it should have gotten that far. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but it just sounds like she took it a certain way. She can say she didn't, but she obviously did based on how she responds. Your actions speak louder than words. If your first response is like, "Well, how tall are you?" in like a kind of hostile way, it's just like, "Whoa, I'm
Yeah,
just
but to
having a
be fair
conversation."
too, certain questions that certain people ask to kind of either most people either projecting or they have like kind of it shows their action to certain questions they ask. Like you know, a person that's not racist but racist can ask a black person all these questions, and then us like, what do you mean by that question? Well, I'm just asking you a question. So yeah, but sometimes a flow of conversation, I get it. Just me personally, a flow of conversation got to go both ways. If I ask, B Taylor something, and and we're getting like kind of little dialogue, she might flip it on me in reverse, like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. So, what do you think about the Great Pill since you posed the question? Oh, I'm glad you asked, B Taylor. Then we move on.
First of all, I would like to say only Angela can get me on a live with no makeup on in my bed.
Well, first of all, you got red light on, so you good. So it's like the red light special.
The red light effect. But yeah, I wanted to answer the original. Was the original question? Was it just height matter or something like
Yeah,
that?
there was something else too. They were talking about marriage. I laughed on it, but I'll come back to that. But yeah, it originally was about height.
Height preference.
Okay, I do think that height is important for women, and I think it's more so like a survival thing. Like if you think about just like even with the animal kingdom,
Really,
they
bro?
only mate with the strongest. So when you look at height, you equal that to strong, superior, and then you look at DNA and genetics. Like so, if someone is like 5'4" and I'm 5'6", and I have a kid with a man that's like 5'4", and we have a son, I'm putting my son at a disadvantage over because his dad's gonna give me 5'4" DNA. So I'm just telling you what women are thinking when they see a man that's 6 foot and over. They're like, okay, he's gonna give me strong children. Is it factual? No, but is it a chance that you can have taller children? Yes. My dad's 6'3". My mom was like 5 foot, and my sister's like 5'11". I'm 5'6". Like we didn't come out as short as our mom because of my dad DNA. So, and my sister has tall kids, and I have tall kids because it got passed down through DNA. So,
I
Hey,
have a
Taylor.
question though. If your son was 5'4", would you normalize women wanting to date men of that height, or would you still ostracize them?
No, I would tell him to go for somebody shorter than him.
Bruh,
Or maybe
what's
I'm
going
like,
on?
no,
Sugar's
maybe I'm
based
gonna be
right
like,
now.
son, please go for somebody that's 6 foot and over, so your kids can have a chance to be
No,
taller.
So, what's more important, height, being 6 foot and over, or being able to make 6 figures and over?
Everybody not gonna make 6 figures
Come
and
on.
over. That's why.
No, that's a good question. No, that's a good question. If you had a choice, though,
If I had a choice to go with somebody that's 5'4", well, so how much is the 6 foot making? Like a 40K difference?
100K a year,
Get there.
5'4", 100K a year, 5'4". BT, let's go.
Nah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna take 80K a year at 6 foot. Cause what we can get there. You can't. Your height gonna stay there. Your money can grow longer. Your knees can't. So
but that money, but that money.
She does not represent for all women out there. Everybody in the chat, she does not represent for all women in the shit. You know,
Hey, Taylor, you know the Taylor.
I'm not trying to crap on the short kings now. I'm just saying there's shorter women out there that's for y'all.
Taylor, are you familiar that they recently came? Well, not recently, but there's just more of an expansion of these procedures that guys can get right now, where they can actually grow a foot taller.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, but your DNA still is giving 5'4".
Yeah, but you won't know that though.
Yeah, and also you do know you. Are you familiar with what do you call
So
it?
y'all
Horse
out
breeder?
here catfishing women now? Is that what we doing?
Y'all women catfishing us men. So hey,
All I'm gonna say is I'm
look.
Asian. Most Asian people are not tall, so I don't dream where the dreams don't go at. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Height is
There's
not a thing
not
in
a-
the Asian culture.
How tall are
for the
you,
record-
Angela? You look like you're tall. You look
Well,
like
I'm a
you're like at
barbaric-
least
I'm a
5'6".
barbaric bitch. That's a different story. Just because I'm born in America, but for the most part, most Asians are like very tiny and the height and the nutrition value is not there. My family is a living statistic of it. I'm the only big bitch here, so.
Hey, for the record, how many of the women have different lighting in their? How many of the women in here? All three of y'all. How many of y'all got different lighting in your cameras right now?
Different lighting?
Yeah, the lighting. Did you set up the lighting a certain way? Oh, she wouldn't. Ah, there she goes. You guys got different lighting to set up to either amplify or take away some of your features, correct?
I mean, I still say, you know.
Hell
If
yeah.
anything, I feel like if I don't, because I don't have good lighting in here, I'm just laying in my bed. So
Okay, so you're doing it to take away your features.
no, actually, you can see my features more because I'm right up on the light. If I was in the dark like you, where your camera is like giving foggy and it needs to be wiped out, then you know.
No, I'm in the garage. No, I'm in the garage. It's the glare. It's the glare of the light. There's no man.
There's shadows on your face. Like I can't see all your imperfections.
Right,
and
but I
there's
haven't.
glare.
Right, but I haven't done this to cover up my imperfections. You see the point that
I can't see your
Julius, the
imperfections
show.
because
Let's
the light
bring
is
it
not
back.
on you.
Guys, listen. We gotta end the show. We only do 2 hours. We went a little over 2 hours. We're gonna end this show. I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming on. Anybody have any like final thoughts they want to get out real quick before we end it? Angela, anything you want to say before we end it?
No, I think that people can have sex. I don't think everyone needs to be virgins. I think people need discipline in life and you don't have to overdo everything. And I think that tall men, short men, I'm all for whatever works for your height and your preference in life. Not everyone needs to be 6 figures. Not everyone needs to be 6 feet tall. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Ruse, you have anything you want to say?
Well, I got something for Taylor before I go. If your son's 5'4", she gets with a chick who is 6 feet, I guarantee those kids are going to be as tall as her.
Yeah, no, that's why I said he has a fighting chance to get with somebody that's really tall.
But you said it has to be below his height.
Yeah, I
Rude.
said
We're wrapping up the show. Rude.
All right.
B. Taylor, you want to say anything real quick before we go?
No, thank you for inviting me on. I was trying to support my girl Angela. I came to kind of give y'all pushback so it wouldn't be an echo chamber. I like to kind of
you are an echo chamber when you said that mess. I was like, yo.
I just had to give a
Great pill.
feedback.
Great pill. You want to say
Yeah.
anything? Final thought?
Yeah. I didn't hear the other part about the marriage thing that Angela was referring to. Can you kind of like concise that? Was that a question or a comment? Because I missed that one. Y'all have enough topics?
I forgot.
Angela, what was that? Because you had responded to that about the marriage thing and virgin.
I just said that you don't have to be a virgin to get married. I think that's a bit. It's just a big stretch for the society. That's it.
Okay, I agree to that. Also expand your options. Women got more option than us in attraction value. It is what it is. Stop crying, stop complaining, move on. That's it. If she likes you, she likes you. If she don't, she don't. You know, like, and I give an example like BT. Hey, she's not a representative of all women, but if that one particular woman is saying what she's saying, don't come beating it down her DMs like, "Are you gonna love me because I'm taller?" Doesn't no, don't do all that. So yeah, that's it.
All right.
Troy, anything you want to say?
No, not really. I think this is a beautiful organization. I'm sorry, a beautiful conversation that you guys are having. Keep it up. They can get uncomfortable sometime, but it's necessary. Much respect to everybody.
Okay, Moxie, you want to say anything?
So Julius, I signed on because of you, because you said that that I was feeling some sort of way. I just wanted to clear it up. I'm not feeling any sort of way. Actually, it seems like you're feeling some sort of way because you turned off your camera. So I just wanted to say that there you go. So in regards to my husband's height, my husband is 5'8". And the reason why I didn't want to answer you is because I shared a lot of information. And then for you to just turn around and say, well, what's your husband's height, without even asking my height? Or I think a better question would have been, hey, when you decided to marry your husband, or when you decided to give your husband a chance, was height something that you considered? I think that would have been a more effective question. So, and then you didn't answer my question. So I was like, dude, really? And then my camera died. So, yeah, I think that what's most important is that it's a package deal. It's not just height. It's not just looks. That's what I was trying to tell you. It's not just money. It's not just, the girl can cook. The guy makes, 6 figures. It's a package deal. And that's why I always say that life is a negotiation, and it's just all about knowing what your negotiables are or what your non-negotiables are.
That's for you, Moxie. You're alpha now. You're alpha, Moxie.
How you doing the Illuminati?
No, that's the alpha sign. You don't see Myron Gaines? That's when they used to do that. That's the red pill's gold sign for the alpha male.
So I'm gonna hop off so that they can wrap this up. So thank you, Julius and Nick, for having me. I'll be in the Discord, everybody, if anyone wants the voice channel for 30 minutes. So okay, thank you guys so much for being here. You guys are awesome.
Bye.
Yeah.
Sorry, no link for you.
Bye, Julius. Bye, Nick. You guys are great. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Yep.
Wait, did I do that wrong?
My computer's slow, so you gotta exit yourself out.
Oh, you gotta kick us out, bro.
My audio was removed. What the heck just happened? Okay, so I'm gonna end it if I'm still here. I don't know what's going on. What's happening right now? Okay, I don't know what happened. I can't see myself. All right, I just want to end it. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. God bless you guys. Appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next Sunday. If you guys want to tune in for another episode of Age of Men podcast, like this video, share this video, comment below what you guys think. Appreciate you, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care. God bless, and have a good one.